Hey YouTube, here's Jez. I wasn't expecting that. I'll just start now then. I was just making sure the guitar. I was just tuning the guitar. Hold on. Yay! Hey YouTube. Didn't take work out. I'm doing a good job of tuning the guitar, don't I? No chance I can remember the next one. Deeper and down, deeper and down, down, deeper and down. Hey Daniel, long time for you. Quite loud, actually. This is a loud guitar. Maybe I can just not turn the volume up fully. Then I turned it immediately back up again. Because guitars just sound better when the volume's up at full. Still got a wee bit to go before I can put more pinched harmonics in than Zakk Wylde manages in every song. Hey Buster, how's it going? Hey Pontiac! Just finished painting the latest telly. Oh, did you paint it properly or did you paint it the way I paint guitars, which is spray it until it looks kind of all right and then go, well, there's no drips. That's good. Clear coat the bastard. Hey Craig, how's it going? Yeah, did you go for what could tell us more about this Telecaster? I've actually been working on quite an interesting telly. I've not actually started drinking yet. Well, I can talk. I won't even talk about it. A Fender, a really nice Fender telly made in China. I did not know you got tellies made in China, Fenders made in China, but you do or you did. It's got it's a Nashville one, but it's an amazing looking body, and the neck on it is an absolute stunner. AXXX Paps. Needs quite a bit of setup. I've done the wiring for it. It's like, I don't know, a couple of hours ago. It's one of those ones that the other things I've been doing. It was like some things take ages and involve lots of sawdust and all that. And some things it's like, well, I can just sit and watch telly and wire away. So, hey Finn, how's it going? All right, Jez, your first full build. Did you build the neck? Because I've never built a neck. I've actually got a really nice piece of wood that somebody gave me. I was picking up a guitar and I said I built guitars out of kitchen worktops or something. This is a couple of years ago. And the guy's like, I've got this amazing wood that he got off a building site that he'd had for like 10 years. And it's like, and he was always going to make a neck and never did. Here you have it. So I've got I think it's a mahogany thing that's long, it's long enough for a neck through. And it's maybe I don't know, like a 4x4 or something like that. So it could be cut up. I'm sorry, whoever that was, I've still not done it. I will do it eventually, though, at some point. Craig, you're right with the Tokai Firebird bass. The Thunderbird, the neck is like a crane. Yes, I'm assuming you're meaning it's a way out here. That's what I think part of the reason is if you ever watch, who was it? System of a Down guy plays one, and he plays it, below his knees, and I think that may be to do with the neck drive. I don't think they're actually. I'm pretty sure it's just normal. It's just normal scale. It's got like a big bit here where you've got like is it like a tunematic bridge? Oh, there's a gap between the back of the bridge, kind of like that, which makes it stick out an awful lot more. And then the headstock, the tuners don't start till about here, so the headstock kind of is here. So it's really, Really bizarre. I was actually watching a Stephen Stills, a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young concert. Hey, Joe V. I know that is probably the devil horns, and this is a kitsune, as in baby metal fox god type thing, but from the front they look the same. Actually, somebody commented before, I was like, how come you always hail Satan at the start of your videos? And I don't. For a start, you got to believe Satan exists to be a proper Satan worshipper. So here we go, a fresh bottle this week. And cheers to, I can't remember what his real name was. I fixed up the crackle, the 2 Hondos I did last week. The guy gave me a bottle of Bucky as a tip. So it's like, there. Cheers. His name's Murphy's pal. I think his actual name's Bob, though. Craig, you're going to have to get an arm extension like the villain from Into the Dragon. Oh, right, yeah. So, what arm extension? I know the thing. Into the Dragon, though. It's like, let's talk about films. Into the Dragon's an absolute belter of a film. I love it. Kind of watched after that. It's like, what other Bruce Lee films? And it was like, kind of, I think the other ones are not as good, although I've seen bits of Game of Death, I think, but not as much. Hey, Joe, I'm playing officially endorsed by Status Quo, hence why I've got Status Quo instead of like and subscribe. I've got like and subscribe written in the wall anyway. So Status Quo both played this guitar for all of 1986, like the whole of that photo shoot. They were playing Westtone guitars. Actually, if you look at the bottom of it, you can't really see it there. I don't know how. No, I'm not bothered doing that. That would just get confusing. There's like 4 pictures at the bottom of some of the other members of the band kind of looking at it. I think Rossi's kind of looking at like a Pantera or something. Like, obviously, they've walked in and gone, right, well, okay, Westtone deal, what's this deal? And it's like pure, it's 500 quid each or something like that. Right, fine, we'll do it. And it's like, in my head, Parfit's gone, Telecaster 1, have that. And Ross has gone, right, and he's looked at all the other ones, and they're all pointy and spiky. And he's gone, I'll just have another one. The bass player from Nazareth playing Thunderbird. Possibly. He normally plays, he plays like, is it alembics or like your sort of neck throughy type, lots of switches and lots of active stuff on them. I can't remember what he played when I saw Nazareth. This was only a few years ago. Manny, the guitarist, wasn't there. I can't remember. He was playing some sort of alembic or something like that. Maybe a sort of custom built one. Yeah. No, back pictures of Matchstick Men's like that's 1960 something. This is 1980. This guitar's 1987, 1986, something like that. This and the Pantera are the last ever Matsumoku built guitars. There is the rest of the Clipper range. This is a Clipper 6, even though it doesn't have it normally says so in the truss rod cover. Didn't have a truss rod cover when I got it. In fact, it didn't have tuners or pickup or bridge or anything when I got it. It was basically a neck plate. I actually bought, I even made that out of metal, but I bought a Westtone Matsumoku product made in Japan neck plate. But this one is that guitar anyway, because the guy was like, I'm sure it's a Japanese one. I remember it saying Matsumoku on the neck plate, but he couldn't find it. And I was looking it up, and it was like, I think there's some, I don't know, if you look them up on eBay, you'll probably see some for sale, and it's like, I think it was 40 quid or something. I was like, I'm not paid for, that's more than I paid for the guitar. I'm not paying 40 quid for one. And it was like, all right, fine. And then I think it was later that night, up came like, because you looked for this, like it came up as an advert, and it was like one that had just been listed for like £2, like at an auction ending tomorrow sort of thing. So I bid on that. I think I got it for about 4 quid or something. It's like, I don't mind paying 4 quid for, I'm not paying 40 quid for a metal plate. Maybe if the guitar was a bit more celebrated, like a 50s Fender or something like that, not a 1986 Westtone. But the other ones in the range have all got a pointy headstock, and none of them are the single pickup ones. So that's how you can tell whether it's the Japanese one or the Korean one. Never played one, but they're this exact shape. There's a turquoise one that looks really cool, and there's like an HSS one, and I think there might be a 3 single coil one or something like that. Yeah, I think, but the Pantera, I think, was the last. I suppose this is, I suppose you can. It's not really a modern guitar, is it? This is basically a Telecaster. This bit's a bit pointy. Other interesting thing about this, Stephen, about this is the the pickup. Well, this didn't have a pickup in it. It normally got an MMK 45, which is a sort of super distortion copy. This is actually a DiMarzio super distortion from the 70s, and 2 switches. One turns on each coil, so you can, it's basically both of them off, or you can turn on each one. But interestingly, this guitar never had a humbucker in it, so both the coils were in parallel. So you had like a single coil, or you had a parallel, which is kind of sounds a bit like a single coil, but it's hum cancelling. So it's not the heavy metal guitar that it is now. Kind of bizarre. It's like a country guitar. I think this is quite a big country hit. Look at it. I've just noticed that I've put the coils around the wrong way. So this one, that one there is, this coil sits a sort of slightly bassier one. Turn off the distortion. And then this one's a trebler one. I'll be honest, I did look inside it. I was thinking I will swap the wires over, and then just looking at it, the wires I put on it weren't quite long enough, so I'd have to extend them, and I can't really bother. Just remember that there's only 2 switches, so it didn't really make any difference. Yeah, I need to do something with the Pantera. Actually, I had 2 Panteras, about 2 in bits, and I made the best one and then swapped it with my pal Wayne for the black A20 because he had 2 of them, so it worked out quite well. I had 2 of them, 2 of the Panteras, and he's always liked them, and I've always wanted an A20. He had 2 of them, so we did a wee swap. Yeah. I was looking at Ibanez Destroyer 140. Really? That must have been a new one. The Destroyers, there's very expensive ones, there's moderately priced ones, and then there's the modern ones, which I'm sure they're still amazing. But the big one is Iron Maiden, Adrian Smith in it. He played one, and you can get that exact one. He just played like a stock Ibanez. It was kind of like a candy apple red with 2 white humbuckers like this in it. They can get them quite expensive. Well, they're fantastic, but the original ones were much more Gibson copies. Apart from the bottom bit, it's not on the wall, but there's one, instead of the bottom horn being kind of that sort of shape, it's got a sort of hook on it, a little bit, kind of like if you look at the Ibanez Blazer, it's got a sort of a hooky thing going on there. Just a wee bit, as opposed to being completely round. And they look absolutely amazing, and they are big bucks. They are thousands of pounds. And then the 80s came about, and they started having like they started being a bit more pointy and a bit more less of the fancy tops and stuff, a bit more like for me. Business or pleasure tonight? Well, I'm drinking Bucky, so that's obviously got to be pleasure. Has to be. I'd get a Pantera for show. The Pantera, it looks amazing. It does. I've got to steal the nut off it. I've got like it's got a Floyd Rose, but it doesn't have the Floyd Rose clampy thing. So I used a Caller one, which sits behind the nut, but I've now got the Aria ZZ or ZZ if you're American, which needs the Caller one, because if you put a Floyd Rose one on, it goes over the nut and then does that. Like it's pure tight, so you need to have like a chunky. So I need to go in and do something else with it. AK 1888. I might go get the Pantera later. Actually, it's sitting there. I've not been in I keep looking these guitars out, going, I'm going to take this into the studio, but it's just I've not been getting good rehearsal times. Things keep ever since. Well, obviously the lockdown, we didn't get any rehearsals, but now it's kind of like a bit more. Things keep happening. I was, like 3 weeks ago, I got COVID, but we had a couple of weeks off, and then I was in on Friday night there, and then next week we can't get a rehearsal, and then the one after it we get a gig, so that's going to be pretty ridiculous. And actually, the guitar I'm going to use the Shockingbird, which is the one I made out of a joist, and the pickup's quite microphonic, but one of the songs I suddenly realized is a big sort of long intro bit where there's like a bass riff, and I was just kind of playing harmonics and stuff. But if I've got the microphonic pickup, I can get right up to the amp and go woo, and get like the feedback going and stuff. So I'm just going to use it. I remember looking at a Flying V, a video on the same one, K's. It was not a K's, and the one I've got is an Arbiter, but it could very well be branded K's. I'm not really sure about K. I know they did like your sort of Tesco looking, the sort of early, the late 60s looking guitars, even though they're not. I think they still made them right up to the mid 80s. Like cheap catalogue guitars, but I've seen ones that look quite fancy as well. I've kind of seen ones that sort of don't look. They're not unlike the sort of Washburn wingy type thing. And they can't have been cheap if they're through neck and all that. But I mean, I really like my Arbiter Flying V. I actually, after I had it, I got an Epiphone one free, like a white one that was really beautiful, but it wasn't as good as it was set neck, and well, it wasn't the cheapy Epiphone one. It was quite an expensive one, and the Arbiter just blew it away. I actually bought the Arbiter in bits. The fingerboard, the neck snapped. The fingerboard was coming off. I think the head was kind of cracked and fallen off, and it was in bits, and the whole scratch plate had been covered in gaffer tape like 20 years ago, and it was all scuffed and pure minging looking, and half the body had been sanded and stuff like that. And I was looking at it. It came in the original case. I bought it in Cumbernauld, and it was like looking at it, and it was a mad pickup. You see pickups, one of those ones, the Maxon ones, which has got like a metal ring on it. They kind of look weird. And then the other one had gold pole pieces on it. Like, that's quite interesting. So I took that whole. I bought it for 30 quid, something like that, 25 quid. Brought it home and looked it up, and the pickup is a Gibson Dirty Fingers, which only came, like I stuck it onto some guitar site, and somebody was up here, oh, that's a Gibson Dirty Fingers from 1975 or something. There was only 1 year that they made a Flying V that had gold hardware and gold pickups, and that's that one. So it's like a pure rarity. It's worth, I don't know, I think I saw one for sale for like 300 quid, and I got it free in the guitar. It's still in there. Good fun. I don't know. I don't think it's a K that I modded. I don't remember a K one. I've done a few. All right, it might not have been mine. I don't remember a K Flying V. I'm trying to think of what Flying V's I have done. There was that Epiphone one. I've had a couple of ones in to get fixed. Don't remember a K one. I've done a couple of Bucky ones. There was a Rally one that I modded and painted. It was actually really good. That was every bit as good. Rally guitars, if you ever see them, they kind of go quite cheap, I think, because nobody really knows what they are. But of the 3 or something I've played, they've been excellent, excellent guitars. How do I rate Lotus? I've never seen. Well, I don't know. I quite like the Esprit, like the original one, the James Bond one. No, I've seen them. They do a copy of that, or the one I've seen more often is a copy of the Eagle, which is the white version of that. It's got it's called a German carve on it, where it's kind of flat for the first inch, and then it's got the carve on it, because like a normal carved top starts on the top and then just goes out the way. This one's got like a flat bit, and then it goes out. Other guitars I've seen with that, the Epiphone Scroll's got that. Lots of problems. Serious. No, I mean the Lotuses look good. I don't know where they're made. Is it Madeira or something like that? But they're very, very much a copy of the Washburn Wing. I assume they were cheaper than the Wings, but I don't know. They could have also been a bit later, because these were only made up until 82, I think is the last one. And by that point, they were probably getting quite popular, but the company went under because these were really expensive to build. So any Washburn Wings you get after this don't look like that. Well, they're the same outline, but you've got it's like a set neck. Basically, it's like a more modern guitar and a flat top, and it's just kind of like a bit more. It's not quite as extremely fancy as those ones. With the Lotuses, the Lotus or the Loti are kind of a bit more thatty looky. Lotus Les Paul. I've not seen it. I don't know. You're in America, so it's possible they never really had distributors over here or something like that. You get quite a lot of guitars like that are kind of we get over here that are worth quite a lot of money in America, like more the Japanese ones. But there's quite a lot of like ones you got in America that they just never brought over here. There's a whole Washburn era. Like we seem to stop getting Washburns. Just going by what I've seen on eBay and stuff like that, unless nobody ever sells them. We don't really get them after the Yamaki ones, these ones, we see a fair few of these, like the sort of the expensive ones. And then after that, when they went to flat top, you see some from like 1983, and then pretty much not really any Washburns between sort of 1983, 1984, and 88 when they went to Korea. Whereas in America, you can get, like, there's a one called an HM, which I've never seen for sale over here. It's kind of like a pointy explorer-y type thing. Quite a lot of reissues and stuff like that as well. They reissued the Stage series. They reissued that a few times. My pal James has actually got one. He gave me a guitar. He quite enjoyed the What's in the Box videos. Everyone liked a What's in the Box video. And he bought a Washburn Silas Stevens guitar. And he hadn't even opened it yet. He's up here. Do you want to open it live and thank me? Yay. So apparently he bought about 10 years ago, I think, he bought 2 new old stock 90s Washburn wings, and he only opened one of them because they were both the same, or one of them was a different color. He can't even remember what color it is. It's still in its original box, unopened, so he's going to give that to me at some point, so that'd be interesting to see that one. I have played the one that he did open, and it's basically, it's a Samick built thing, and it's basically almost exactly the same as the Epiphone Les Paul that was about at the same time, sort of 95, apart from it's that shape. But it's everything about it's just very much like that. And a really nice guitar. I don't think they were cheap. The Epiphone Les Pauls weren't cheap. They were 400 quid at the time. So I think it was kind of that sort of money. Obviously, just hold on. Yeah. Hey, Ravens, me 70 quid for a Rally Flying V. Buy it. That's totally worth it. One I had was, if I didn't have the Arbiter one, the thing with the Arbiter one, because it's the back of it's been sanded and stuff, and it's got the expensive pickups in it, and it's a bit beat up, and it's from the 70s, it kind of suits me more. So it'd have to be a really special Flying V to beat that. And to be totally honest, I don't think I would probably get as much for the Arbiter as I would for the Rally one, if it was cleaned up, because it doesn't. It's it's a bolt-on neck, which doesn't really make any difference to the sound. But people go, "Oh, bolt-on neck, it's a cheapie," so you're never going to get any money for it. Have you ever done a Brian May wiring job? Yes, I've done it a few times actually. I remember doing one. In a mini guitar. I remember doing one in a Charvette, which I got it, and it's like someone had, I think, tried to put a scratch plate on it, even though it wasn't meant to have one. So it was like, routed all the way through from the front, because obviously it had the back cavity, but someone had routed it in the front. And I had tried to think how I'd wired it. I think it was 2 Zebra pickups and then a white single coil in the middle. Would that be right? So I had the 2 humbuckers, and to fill in the hole, I'd got a Queen single, which was Another One Bites the Dust or something like that. And I'd used that to hold a big switch, so you had like a normal guitar mode, which was 2 humbuckers, and then when you put the selector switch, you could choose Brian May wiring, which was like an on-off switch for each of the 3 single coils, and a phase switch for each of the 3 single coils. That was a tough one to sell. I seem to remember having that for ages. It was a really amazing neon color. It's just the only reason it was cheap was because it had this hole in the front. There was no way of covering it up with a scratch plate. It was like, I don't know if someone had maybe made something and it was long gone. Good fun. Brian May does his are all wired in series as well. So the Brian May sound, I think he says he normally uses the middle and the neck together, which is kind of like what I've been putting in the coil adder guitars, or the Malco switch ones, where I take a Strat and you can make a humbucker sound using the middle pickup and the neck pickup. That's kind of what Brian May's guitar does. It had phase on it as well. Ibanez ST50. Not sure what that is. Is that an old one or a new one? I know they do. Ibanez have always done hundreds of guitars. See, when you look at the Art Core series, where they've got like the sort of the 335s and the sort of they kind of go into the sort of jazz box territory, and they also kind of go a bit more towards the spiky, but they're semi-hollow. Some of them look amazing, but I don't really know anything about them. And to be honest, it's one of those ones I don't really know who plays them either. They did arrange. I did swap the pick out sort of one before, and it was like a 335, but it was kind of burnt looking. Like it looked like someone had put it in a fact, like as a design thing to make it look sort of old. It was a really strange thing. It's one of those things I could sort of see that in a punk band, but it was a 335 type thing. I didn't really know what to do with it. Lotus made in Asia from the 70s to 90s, good quality. Copy if you come them cheap. Buy the bus. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I've not seen one, because I mean, if you're talking about, it depends what you mean by you say cheap. If you're talking about like £100 or something like that for a wine copy, I'm going to buy it just for the video, just for curiosity's sake. But I've not really. I don't really know if I've even really seen any for sale. I've seen them if you type in Washburn Wing and look into Google Images, and then once you've scrolled past about 10 pictures of me, they start popping up, because people don't know that they're not Washburn wings, because they kind of look the same. So it's like, oh, I think it's just a wing that's been rebadged, but actually you look at it, it's definitely nothing to do, apart from the fact they've copied a photo of it. The rest of it's everyone else is different shapes and stuff like that. Very good. Do I not get the same hairstyle doing that? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, what my hair's doing today. Actually, I was listening to Brian May last night. Starfleet. I remember that mini record. It's like from an 80s. I think it's a Japanese. It's dubbed into English. Sort of. It's kind of like Terrahawks or something like that. I never saw it when I was wee. I was watching that actually last night. For a bit, the first couple of episodes, and I didn't think I'd ever seen it before, but you know, on YouTube, it shows you the wee red bar to show you how far through it you were. So at some point in the last 10 years, I must have watched the first 5 minutes of it and got bored. But this time I actually got into the second episode. It's actually quite exciting. I don't think Starfleet Brian made anything to do with the actual cartoon. It's got like a wee tune at the start and the music at the end, and I think Brian May's a bit of a sci-fi buff, and I think he used to watch it on tour with his kids or something like that, and he'd get pure into it, and then he invited a few of his pals over to make a mini album. I think it's like 4 songs on it, but it's the size of a record, and it's got the Starfleet song, and then it's got a few sort of bluesy jams, and it's him and Van Halen, and I can't remember who the other people are, but it's awesome. Look up Starfleet, Brian May, and then watch the. Well, I can't really comment on the cartoon. It's not a cartoon; it's like a Thunderbirdsy type puppets, but this is pretty good, amazing fun. I'm actually skipping back, and I've lost my battery again. I'm going to buy another keyboard. I bought the cheapest one I could find. The batteries don't last very long. I must be able to get one that's got like a charger in it or something like that, where I can just USB it. 100. Oh, I missed out. What's $180? Oh. 1,000. I've missed the start of that conversation. If you stick it up again, that'd be awesome. I'll catch up. If I type electric guitar into F8, I get a bunch of posts with ridiculously cheap, well-known guitars. When you click the post, it's blank, nothing. I don't know what the hell was. Facebook Marketplace, an absolute bitch though. It used to work really well. I used to get notifications of anything within, I think it's 100 kilometers, which kind of covers, I don't know, more 70% of Scotland, so I can get to within, you know, like half an hour or, something, or 45 minutes or something. And then when they changed Facebook, the layout, so there was more adverts and stuff in it, it just totally went haywire. And now I just get, if I go into Marketplace, it just tells me, it just shows me anything. And it's like, oh, that's an interesting guitar. It's like 4 weeks old, and it's in Luton. You're like, what the? Well, but talk about intimate, you know, preferences. See, it's like, yeah, within 100 miles of Glasgow. Like, well, why are you showing me that? And then it's also, why is it showing me just the most random stuff? I was actually, for some reason, someone was selling cinema seats. Or they weren't selling them, they were giving away free. I think it was like 40, you know, like rows, maybe 10 rows of 4 folding up cinema seats kind of on you bolt to the floor. And it's one of those things you go, oh, awesome. Why was I interested in it? No idea. What would I do with cinema seats? Even if it was just one set, I just thought they looked cool. And I was then trying to think of anyone I knew that was, I don't know, building a cinema. I don't really know what to do with that. Yeah, cheap keyboards, yes, buy shit, you buy twice. There's probably an element of that. Yeah, even if it just had a cable on it, I wouldn't really be that bothered. But I just needed a keyboard. Marketplace 40% ads for cheap tap for some online store. Yeah. Also, just I cannot get the musical instruments. I have to look past bikes, flats, pottery, women's clothes. You're like, come on, it's like, you might like, it's like, I was actually at a point where I was getting notifications, and it was like for like high heel shoes. And you're like, what the? I wasn't looking these things up. It's pure annoying. I'm kind of going right off Facebook Marketplace. Actually, to be honest, I used to do a heck of a lot of buying guitars on Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace, like scouring them all the time, and that's how I was picking up bargains. And I've really not been doing it the last 6 months because I've got such a backlog of guitars sitting through there that I need to get to, and all the ones I seem to get seem to just come at. They seem to find me. I don't seem to have to do anything to go and get it. It's just like I just get given it, or in a trade or something. Just seem to find these things. Hey, Rocket Ronnie, is that you, Ronnie, Mr. Acoustic Suzuki, man? I don't know. It's bizarre how people having strange names. I have actually noticed quite a few folk call me Malco now, which I'm still not quite used to. I kind of made up that name. It wasn't a nickname I was given when I was younger or anything like that. I was just called Malk. Or I was just called Malcolm or Malk. And then when I was playing The Legend of Zelda, I typed what's your name on the Game Boy. I typed my name in as Malcolm, and then there wasn't enough letters, which I hadn't noticed until it was like hello Malco, and I thought, oh, and I had a C in it. And then there was already somebody called Malco with a C, so it was bad. It became Melko. So I stuck with it. Actually, my pal Wayne showed me, was in a charity shop yesterday, the day before. They took a photo, and it was like the 1812 Overture and other famous overtures, and it was by somebody Malco. Like, I don't know, some Italian guy or something like that. So it does kind of exist. Yeah. Getting right into my... really enjoying my bucky tonight. That's good. Yeah, so it's like Jerry's not on yet. He was going to ask me a question. I can't remember what it was. Is that, have you got what's the plan for tonight? And it's like a plan. There's very rarely a plan. The plan is drink and play the guitar, talk about whatever guitar I happen to be playing. That's really it. I think I've kind of talked about it now. I don't know. Is it an ugly one? Is it? I think I actually put it on the Facebook, the Ugly Guitars Facebook page, because I could see why people would be pure offended with it. I don't know. I can't remember what I bought. I think I actually bought it. It was one of those ones that was a Gumtree job, and I think it actually in the title it said shite. You know, it said shite Telecaster style guitar, West Tone, and it was like pure. Looking at it, it was like pure. It looks kind of. I'd never seen it before. It's always good when it says shite in the advert. The other things there. Aria Pro 2 Night Warrior. Problem is Floyd Rose and locking nut. Well, it might. I mean, I think about the Night Warrior. I think you spelt it wrong. Is it not a knight as in a K in? You know, like a knight in armor warrior. I think it might be. It's from about the same era as my my Blade Runner, where they were just putting really cool names on it. The Rock Device bass. It's a really cool names. I just wish they would call more guitars the Night Warrior or the Blade Runner, rather than. I mean, Ibanez are really bad for it. They're not. You know, they're really bad for it. It's like, oh, what kind of Ibanez you go? Oh, it's like an SA324/FMD6. You know. But I mean, they've got so many models, you can't give them names. I'm just looking at the guitars on the wall, thinking of what's got names. Oh, the Blazer's a good name. That's SG. SG stands for solid guitar. SG sounds really cool. I was really gutted when I heard it sound for solid guitar like that. Right? Not brilliant. Then obviously you get Falcon and then Vulture, which is like that. That's my one of the reasons I ended up buying pretty much the whole set, because it's like they're all bird names. I thought that was great, but that only works if you've got a range of 8 guitars, and then you go into the stage series, but you can't see that one. But you can see that one, and that's like an A10. Well, that's an A20. There's like an A10. You're like, and Pontiac names, but I mean, obviously you're going to run out of names. But I suppose the thing as well is you're not going to know. You don't know whether it's going to be successful or not, because some guitars stand the test of time and they make them for years, and some don't. And it's like, oh, damn, we've used a pure amazing name and it's gone. Telecaster, amazing name. Stratocaster, amazing name. No, it's just like Stratocaster, what a fantastic name for a guitar. Just like, I don't even know where it came from. I know that Telecasters were originally called Broadcasters, which isn't really that good a name, but there was a problem with Gretsch drums that they already had Broadcaster, so they had to change it. They changed it to Telecaster. It's just like pure, I think Telly was like, the idea was, oh, there's this new thing called television. Everyone likes watching. You know, so that's a big thing in the future. Well, it's a guitar of the future, so yeah. The Sparrow didn't sell too well. Well, yeah, the Sparrow's not. Well, I'd say I've got another one. I'm going to try and make one. I've got like I bought the cheapest one's called a Raven, which doesn't fit in because all the other ones are birds of prey, and a Raven is a carrion something. It's not whatever it's not a bird of prey, whereas like the hawk and the falcon and the eagle are. The vulture is the base. The cheaper base is called a scavenger, which always annoyed me because a scavenger isn't a type of bird. It's just in anything, you know, like a crab or a rat's a scavenger, isn't it? So I don't like that. And so I've got one and I'm going to make it. Hey, Jenny, I was just talking about that. You get your Epiphone Firebird for 150 quid? Really? What an absolute steal. 400 quid would be more what I expected. That was a fantastic guitar. Especially if you're into Roxy music. Especially if you just want to hang it on the wall. That's a stunning looking guitar. You've just bought a Cort Flying V. Well, Cort make some of the best guitars. I mean, they make all Squires, and who else do they make? Do they not make? Is there not Ibanez made by Cort? I think quite. There's a range. I think it used to be Cortec was the factory in Korea, but I think they've also got an Indonesian factory. Fantastic. The Corts, I mean, really high quality. They also tried a few times to actually release, as they've done there, they've just put their name on the headstock. So they're sitting there going, up here, well, we're selling an Epiphone or a Squire Stratocaster for 200 quid, and we're having to pay X amount of money to Fender to use the name Squire. What if we just made our own Stratocaster? We'll just basically make it the same, and it will have a slightly different headstock, and then it'll be, 2/3 the price for the same guitar. But it just never seems to last. I bet it's really good. As long my stipulation about Flying V's is it can't be a pointy Flying V. I don't like it when they're pointy at the ends, and I don't like the Randy Rhoads type one. And it's also got to have 3-a-side headstock. I would sort of accept that, but ideally, like a Flying V triangular pointy headstock. I can't stand the ones that are 6 on a side. There's an Aria, it's not there. The ZZ series is the Explorer shape, sort of, but a bit pointier, but they do an XX, which is Flying V shape, and it looks amazing. Yngwie Malmsteen was an endorsee at the start. It looks fantastic, but it's got 6-a-side headstock, and it just, for me, it just puts the whole thing off kilter and doesn't look right. Oh. But I mean, yeah, Cort do really good. Did you say you'd actually bought the Cort, or you were thinking, have you got it yet? Oh. Aria, Pontiac, Aria early 80s, reasonable but scarce in the USA. 300 on average. What do you get? Depends which models you're looking for. There's the Cardinal ones are really good and really quite cheap, apart from the fact that Kurt Cobain played them. So a lot of people are that particular model, especially the Cardinal one, is worth twice as much as any of the other ones, even though the other ones might have been higher in their own range and more expensive new because Kurt Cobain played I think it was one of the reasons for that was because it was one of the few guitars you could actually buy that was 1, pretty good, 2, pretty cheap, and 3, they actually did a left-handed version. Jenny's like, what's my finest Facebook Marketplace value? Oh, see, that's what I'm trying to remember. What's Facebook Marketplace? I got it. It was about 10 in the morning on like a Tuesday or something. And it was it was in Edinburgh, and it was 2 guitars, free, just come and pick them up. I don't know if they work. And it was an Epiphone Flying V and a BC Rich Warlock it was called Maggot Man, so it like a graphic on the top, had a bit of damage on it. So I was just like, pure, this is when Facebook Marketplace worked, and I got it. The advert's been up, a minute ago. Right, I'm coming over now. So I just dropped everything, went over to Edinburgh and got it. And I think I undersold the Flying V. I sold it for a pure bargain price because it sold in 10 minutes. And I think I got 280 for it. And the Warlock, I had to do a little bit of repair work and repair a bit of binding. Kind of looked all right. It was actually quite a good guitar. And I think I got like 200 quid for that as well. So that's possibly the best Facebook marketplace, but that was a kind of, I wasn't really buying them to keep. Maybe my favorite is that Aria bass. I've got an Aria the black laser bass that the guy had found at the dump. He said it was it was 45 quid for an active Aria made in Japan 3-piece neck. It was pretty dirty, and the back was covered in duct tape for some reason. So I was like peeling off the duct tape, going, "Why has it been covered in duct tape?" Don't know. Someone had just covered it in duct tape for a laugh. When I went to talk to the guy was like, "Yeah, I think this might be quite a good one. You got a bit of a bargain." Was that Pierre? Because I've had about 40 phone calls since you got it, and he only lived 10 minutes away. I was like, Pierre, yeah, well, it kind of looks like the one the guy Metallica played. He's like, all right, like, it's not the same model. It kind of looks like it though. And then he's like, Pierre, yeah, there was a guitar with it as well, but there's only like 2 strings on it, so I just left it. And you're like, who knows what kind of guitar that was? But he didn't pick it up because it only had 2 strings on it. Free. It was at the dump. Pick up guitars at the dump, and if it was, you'd imagine it would be the same person that had it. To be fair, the area did need some work. What was it that was wrong with it? I can't remember. Was it the nut had fallen off? It needed. Was it a net? The fingerboard was coming away from the neck, I think, and I just glued it, clamped it, and it was fine. But you know, it wasn't a perfectly working guitar, and it's like obviously somebody's sitting there looking at it, going, "I need to take that into a shop to get it fixed. It might cost 100 quid," and it's like, I bought this guitar brand new for 200 quid in 1980, so, or 1985, I think that guitar was from. But the Firebird, I would obviously buy. Yes, I would buy the Firebird for 150. To be honest, I'm not sure I would keep it though. I liked it. It was amazing looking, and it was pure. Oh, it was like the pure Rolls Royce of guitars, but it wasn't really me. Yeah. Tech issues. All right, not tech issues. What's the buzz? I don't know. Is it a buzz? Yeah, hope not. No, we're getting caught. We're getting caught. We're not. Oh, no. Caught biggest guitar maker in the world. It's possibly just now, yeah. At one point, it was Samick. Something like a third of all the guitars made in the 90s in the whole world were made by Samick. Because they made everything. They were making, just every company was making, well, had Samick branded ones. They're amazing. The Crow, Magpie, Jackdaw, or from the Corvin. That's what I say. I didn't say Corvin, but you're right. That's the one. And known as scavengers. Yeah, but it's not, one of them isn't a scavenger. The scavenger base should have been a crow, or as you say, a jackdaw or a rook or something. Daniel, it's not my Ibanez Blazer. No, that's a new one. I was my pal Scott. You've seen me do the Saturday with Scott thing was over yesterday because he's bought an Ibanez Blazer. That one. So there's a video of that in the computer. I need to put out later. My Ibanez Blazer looks like that. A little bit brighter. Yeah, so we're kind of comparing the two. That's actually quite interesting. The differences. That one's a 95, a reissue of it, and it's heavy. It's heavy. It's like when you first says up here, it's a really heavy beast. I was like, up here, yeah, it's heavier than mine. Like, okay, it's quite heavy. Not as heavy as that or that. So I basically weighed all the guitars in here, and interesting to see where it actually came in. It's like it comes in and it's heavier than that. That's an 8-string bass. Yeah, it's only like 0.2 of a kilogram. That gets it's what I think is it that 4.5 kilograms, and that's like 4.3 or something like that. You're like, what? So I was like, you get heavy, and then you get Washburn wing. It's like solid rosewood and through neck and all that. Really expensive. So there is a video to do that. Yeah, I mean, I don't normally play other people's guitars when I'm drinking, but since it's Scott, I think he'll be fine with it. In fact, also the thing is in absolutely mint condition. Does it have a strap on it? It doesn't. Do I have a strap? Oh. So this is a reissue of a. Yeah, it doesn't have a dent on it. So I'll play it drunk, and then maybe it will. But we ended up just talking about it. So he kind of left it with me to do a proper sound demo, because we were basically just talking about it. So the video I do this week will just be it'll have less talking in it. It'll probably actually be quite a popular video. People might like it because it'll just be me going, here we go, and talking through the pickups and stuff. Not that you're actually going to hear very much. The sound quality on the streams was always awful. Yeah. So I've got it on. So here's an Ibanez Blazer, and absolutely, well, wee bit of fingerboard wear. But apart from that, thing is mint. And a little bit more modern than the Blazer. My Blazer. It's looking weird, so I would not having something hanging up there. Yeah. And I'll probably run it through the tuner. It has been hanging on the wall for a while. Alright, bear with me 2 seconds. Why is it not really? Why is my tuner not liking it? Well, because it's a Strat, I'll play it clean. Yeah, so the reissued Ibanez Blazer still made in Japan, but this time they've actually got it's got the serial number and stuff in the same way that the modern ones do. But I'm going to talk about this during the week. So I've got it on now. Bill Audio's on. Oh, I'm down like Bill Audio? I don't think so. I'm more than 4 feet tall for a start with. Hey, Cheston, Charlie. Hold on. Got a wee bit of something in my throat. Oh. There we go. I see guitars I don't know in this chat. Well, that's like, basically, it's because I'm a cheap bastard that I refuse to pay for guitars that other people know about. So most of these guitars, let's be honest, they were all cheap. They were all much cheaper than they should be. They're all punched far above their weight, which is kind of more. That's my thing. I like high quality guitars, so that's why I'm going for the 80s Japanese stuff. Because these things are, if you look at something like these things are just, they're insane. I mean, to get one built now, or to build one now, these things would be a couple of grand easy, because they're just, you just look at them, you just know they're really expensive, and they're not expensive to buy. Yeah. But the cockpit needs a lot of work. The neck binding needs replaced. Replaced? I don't know how you do that. Well, probably not that hard. Probably not that hard. I'd imagine you can just buy them from China. It's just plastic in it. To be honest, if I was going to be replacing the neck binding on something, I would put a stupid color on. You're putting your stuff on them, so why put black on? I don't know. I've got a thing against you, like something like that. It's got binding on the neck, black binding, so it's like it's black on the back of the neck as well. So it's like black, like ebony fingerboard, black painted back of the neck, and black binding. What's the point of putting binding on it if you can't even see it? Also, a wee bit. So if you look around the edges, it's got like a 3-ply binding. It's got like black and then gold and then black, and it's like you can't see it. You can see a sort of thin gold pinstripe, but it's like, what's the point in having binding if you're not going to see it? So I would have a look at buying silly binding. Like I had an awesome Chender Telecaster I bought in China that it was white with a bound top, and the binding was kind of looked a bit like, I don't even know how you start explaining it. Kind of like a sort of psychedelic rainbow type thing. It was just like, just a cheap plastic. I can't even think of where you would see such a thing. But I mean, you just buy that for China and then just use that. So it's like something a little bit fancy, or red or silver or something. Cool, Jess. I'll check out the I don't have the. I probably do have the technology. Well, I've got the technology. I don't know how to work it. Otherwise, I could probably just flip them up on the screen here. Unfortunately, I can't do that anyway, and I can do that even less when I'm on the bucky. So we're kind of stuck. Very good. Yeah, keep looking back. I mean, I'm not buying any more guitars for myself, which I've said hundreds of times. Then I keep seeing them. I have to be honest, if I'd seen this one for what Scott paid for it, I would probably have bought it just out of the curiosity. It's not actually that heavy. As I was saying, it's heavier than 8-string bass, which technically it is, but it balances really well and it doesn't really feel. Maybe if you're doing a 2-hour set, you would notice it being heavy, but because it's really comfortably and it's because it's a Strat, so you've got all your contours and stuff. You're like fat bellies fitting into the bit on the back, and it's soft on the arm. It feels really good. It's got a fantastic neck on it. And the thing is, which I hadn't seen before, this is I don't know when they started. Oh, I think what we're talking about is this is 95. It's got an automatic coil split. So when you're in the position 5 on the position 1, you've got the humbucker. But when you go into position 4, it splits it down to a single coil. So position 4 is the same as position 4 on a Strat, which I. It's a beautiful guitar. But if you look these up on, even at the prices you see them at as they buy it now, if you look up eBay just now, they're like 500 quid. It's totally worth that. It's well more. It's a much better guitar than the £500 equivalent Fender you get, really. I think at 500 quid you're still maybe even in Squire territory. I mean, Scott didn't pay that for it. He paid a sickening amount. As I say, nice colour. Well, it's a bit boring. I'm sorry for me. I mean, one of the things I was really happy about, well, mine was really, really stupidly cheap. But it had been sanded down and gloss painted navy blue at some point. It looked awful. So for that point of view, I was like, you're right. That gives me clear. There was a point where I was actually going to make it into a bucky caster. I was like, I could do anything. I tried that dip psychedelic thing and then ended up really liking it. So I'm quite pleased. Whereas if it had been the original color, which I think might have been similar to this, I'm not going to take a vintage guitar. Well, not worth any money, but an 81, 82 vintage Japanese guitar and paint it, unless it's already been sanded down, so I'm nothing to lose, Amazing. A Court Action bass. Band you in Australia? Have I got somebody in Australia? Wow. So it's probably it's like 9 in the morning or something. Since you're on the other side of the world. 12 hours should be away, something like that. Wow. Whatever. I'm getting cut out here. If you really want something to ask, there's a super chat thing which Jez has already totally donated to, which is awesome. So if you've got a question, I might miss it. I'm trying to read through them anyway, but I keep missing things and not really paying attention. So if you give me a couple of pounds, so I need another. Well, I've already been donated this bottle. Cheers. So another £2, and I've got next week's bottle. I don't have to pay for it. So it would be super offer. Awesome. Fernandez are meant to be pure amazing. They're viewed in America as like cheap copies. You don't really get them here. You do see them, but they're never cheap. They're kind of, I think I actually remember seeing them in the shop, but they weren't cheap. They were 500 quid or something. The same price as this. So I think it's a very similar, possibly even the same factory type thing. But I've not come across any Fernandez. No, I've not come across any. But then again, I don't look at guitars that are over 500 quid anyway. Well, maybe scroll past them, but I'm never really super excited by them because for 500 quid, I would buy 2 guitars, not one. Fernandez the Function is the name. I think it's got a short scale. The short scale thing's fun. It kind of just depends. You can go too short. I've got no problem with obviously a Strat's 25 and a half, and a Les Paul's like 24 3/4. 24, you can argue you don't even really notice the difference between that and a Gibson. 22 is totally fine. 20 is when you're kind of on the verge of maybe needing to put slightly higher strings on it. I wouldn't be putting 9s on that. I'd be putting 10s or 11s on it. And once you get below 20, it gets a bit crazy. I'm trying to think what my wee V is. I think it's 20. You get some of the kiddies guitars. The thing that really annoys me, what grinds my gears, Family Guy reference, is whenever you see these wee mini guitars, they never, ever, ever, ever tell you what the scale length is on them. It's like, oh, kid's guitar. It's like, it always says, yes, the guitar's 30 inches long. So that includes the headstock and the back. It never tells you, because so many of them are like the mini, the Squire mini strats and stuff like that. They maybe tell you because they're Squire, but all the sort of cheapy ones, you never know. And it's like, I've had it before, and it's just like, it's really annoying when you think, oh, you know, a guitar for 20 quid, because the thing's the amount of effort it takes to make one of the 19 or 20-inch guitars play is not worth it for me to make it into bucky casters. I've done a few of them that size, but the amount of work it takes to make the thing play, because it's so you get less leeway, if you know what I mean. It's like when you're doing that, it's like everything has to be perfect to make it play okay. You can make it, they're not really designed almost to be played well. You're meant to buy it for your kids, and then they plug it into an amp and just they're not really meant to be played. It's like it's more of a guitar shaped object rather than being an actual guitar, but they should be. They never tell you. That's really annoying. But, if you're going down below 20, stick 12s on it, and you should be able to tune it up. Either that or stick normal tunes on it. Instead of tuning it to E, tune it to like G or G sharp or A. Just tune it up to get the tension, because once strings get to a certain looseness, they become too loose to intonate. So you tune it, it's all registered in tune, you try and play a chord, it just sounds hideous. Hey, Aussie $5, fantastic. I don't even know what that is in money, in real money. I always say real money, that's really offensive, isn't it? In pounds, depends what the exchange rate is like. I think that gets me my bucky though. Yes, cheers from Australia. It's like, wow, I'm like totally all over the world. I wasn't aware I had Australian people on here. There wasn't. I remember being really impressed a while ago when I looked up the Facebook analytics, and there was a YouTube analytics, and there was somebody in Uruguay. Countries I've never even heard of. Well, I've heard of Uruguay. There was other countries that I've never even heard of that I can't remember what they are now because I've never heard of them. Amazing. But yeah, Fernandez are meant to be brilliant. Again, it's one of those ones. Do people know about them though? It's like the reason I never had a Yamaha SG is because Yamaha SGs were always well known for being better than Gibsons. So you never got Yamaha. Even when they came out, they were well known for being better than Gibsons. Whereas all these things kind of snuck through, and especially if you're looking at the cheaper end of the range, like the less fancy looking ones, because the quality is totally still there. So they're pure amazing guitars. It just doesn't have your binding and it's not through neck. It doesn't look fantastic in the brochure, but I mean they're just built so much better. The opposite of what you get now. Now a lot of guitars are designed to look good on a web page. Basically, it's like, oh, look at this, it looks amazing, and then you play it and you go, right, I would much rather have a guitar that played and sounded amazing than one that looks the business, but you play it and you just go, kind of hello Epiphone, modern Epiphone, a wee bit like that. Picking up a Court Action bass. Sorry, you're trying to say, I don't know what a Court Action bass is, to be honest. It might not even necessarily be. It could be any shape. It's completely. But a 1988 Fernandez telecopy. Bet that's good. 1988. I wonder, were Fernandez always Japanese? I know they did do Japanese guitars, but 88's a kind of strange one, because by 88, nobody else really made Japanese guitars apart from Ibanez, who managed to stay in Japan. But everyone else, all your Washburns and Aria Pro and Westone, I suppose Westone as well, they some exchange ratey thing happened round about then, where suddenly the yen was worth an awful lot more. So people were going into the guitar shops in 1988 and going, oh, I'll have one of those Washburn wings. And it's like, yep, that'll be $600. And you go, but I was in 6 months ago and they were only 400. So they never really sold any. And then, so to compete, they had to make the guitars themselves much cheaper so that they were the same price people remembered paying 2 or 3 years ago. So that's why when you go to the Korean ones, it's a huge quality drop. They're still really good guitars, and to be honest, the guitars have kind of stayed there. Anything you buy that's at 500 quid is like the sort of 87, 88, 89 Korean guitars, the Samick ones, is kind of what you're buying now for 500 quid. Same sort of thing, just not when you're. This is a wee bit of an exception because what happened to Ibanez was apparently they were in huge trouble, like the way all the Japanese guitar manufacturers were, and then someone called Steve Vai worked with them and produced a guitar called it was a Gem, but the RG, and then that was like basically saved the company totally, and that's how they managed to stay in Japan, even though they did still make other guitars. The other one's ESP are still Japanese, but if you look up the price of any ESP guitar, you'll see what prices these sort of things would be now. They're not cheap. I suppose Fender Japan as well, a little bit. E-band, don't know it. Hey, Mr. White, you've caught up. Oh, I forgot. Seeing as you're on, get some abuse going to Blacktooth Fox because his computer's broken and he can watch it. He might be on just now. We don't know, but he can't get onto Facebook and he can't comment. So I was thinking I can just say anything about that total bastard, whatever I want. And I was like, let's just rip him a new a-hole and it'll be fine. There's nothing he can do about it. Hope he's watching. Hey, how's it going, you dick? No, lovely guy. Check out his channel, and I would like it if I had the technology to do it. I've got the technology, I've had the knowledge. Saw some joggers in front of KSE. Missing out that one from 30 years ago. KFC. Well, I don't know. Last time I got a KFC, I bought a packet of. I did a video on it. That's how exciting it was. I bought a packet of KFC flavored crisps, and on the back of it, I had like a voucher for. I think it was 2 meals for the price of one. So that's why I went. It's like I feel of your McDonald's and KFC and Burger King. If you've got like a buy one get one free offer, they're pretty good. But I refuse to pay how much they cost. They're not worth it when you're buying it without some sort of buy one get one free, 2 for the price of one type thing. Cheers. I got that one E-band. It won't be a beer. It'll be a bucky. Well, yeah. Beers are good, but normally drink a beer. But basically, my entire drinking life since I was 16 or something, I started drinking. It's been a bottle of bucky and a beer. So that by the time I finish my bottle of bucky, kind of the same sort of rate I'm drinking it just now. You know, normally finish at about 11 or 12 o'clock, and then that beer would do me till 3 in the morning when everyone went home. I would just sip a beer to keep me going. It's a quantum thing. Quantum. Australia's still a penal colony. Don't be offending the Aussies. The Aussies are all right. I don't know. They've got a totally different approach to the COVID thing than we had. They're like pure locking down and stuff like that. Yeah. Perhaps much experience with Chipsons. Avid experience with Chipsons. Yeah, totally. I had one. If you're scrubbing through my video, I had one that I sold to my pal Alan. That was excellent. It was a fantastic guitar. It was cream on the back, with like binding, and then like a figured veneer light wood top, and it was really good. But I've also had a Chipson that had a broken neck. It'd been packed badly, and I was buying pickups or tuners off somebody for like, I think it was 15 quid or something like that. He's like, up here, right? I got a Chipson Les Paul to the post. The neck snapped in transit. Do you want it? And I was like, pure, nah, I'm not really interested in a Chipson Les Paul. No. And he's like, well, you could have it. If I give it to you, will you fix it and then do something with it? And I was like, well, okay. So I think I gave him a $5 for it or something. And basically the neck had snapped like between the body and the neck. So basically I just clamped it and it was fine. And that guitar was atrocious. It really was about as bad as a guitar I've seen. It had the Gibson logo on it and it looked all right from a distance, but everything on it was total substandard. It was total rubbish. So it really is your luck. I bought a Les Paul when I was in China. I don't know what my plan was to bring it home, because the way I was bringing back the Telecasters, I was buying bolt-on neck guitars so I could take the neck off and they fitted in my suitcase. So I don't know what I was going to do with the set neck Les Paul, but it was a white one with a binding on it, a single humbucker, and I think it had a wrap over bridge, and the thing looked amazing in pictures. And see the it was a decent guitar, but one major flaw: the neck was on. I don't know if you look at it. The neck was on like that. So see when you looked at the wee bit here, where there's a wee ledge, it was like 5mm on one side and 10 on the other. So the whole neck, although the neck was straight, it was tilted on its side, which you could get round. Obviously, it's a Gibson, so you could tilt the tunematic bridge like that, and you could tilt the pickup like that, and it would have been fine. But I sent it back because I was in China, and the guy was pure raging, pure arguing. My girlfriend really helped me out getting it back. And I don't think I got money back. I think I swapped it for a telly or something like that, which was fine, because the thing about a telly is, if the neck is like that, you could just take the neck off, sand it a bit, put it back on again straight. Or I bought a George Harrison one, which was a bit of a disaster as well. The bridge was kind of too low and a bit of an angle. So with a telly bridge, basically you can sort of unbolt it and then put it in the right position. And you've got like a bit of leeway because it's sitting on a flat metal plate. You can actually move it into the right place and get away with it where the screw holes are. Whereas like a Les Paul, it's better if you've got like a tunematic bridge, it's not easy to move that. If it's like that, those holes, if it's too high or too low or too far back or too far forwards, that's not an easy move. Whereas like a telly bridge, it's just unbolt it, slide it, bolt it back on again. And the same with the neck. So if I was buying a Chinese guitar, I would definitely get a bolt-on neck one, because then even if the neck's goosed, you can buy another neck, put it on it. So it's really your luck with the Chipsons. I was actually talking to Scott yesterday about the Chipsons. See if it actually said Chipson in the logo. I think they would be really good. I'd like that, because I've got no issue with a Chipson. I do have an issue with it saying Gibson on it, unless it's really obviously a copy. But the danger is that Paul Ian's got. I don't even know if he sold it. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's amazing. The most ornate fretwork on it was like flames going up the neck, like in Mother of Pearl. And I think obviously the real Gibson would be, I don't know, 10 grand or something that looked like that. That's the thing. It was a fine guitar. It wasn't brilliant. It was all right. It was like Epiphone level or something with a bit of work to make it work. It was lovely, but it's just that the whole Gibson thing puts me off. I just wish you could get it without that, or even just a blank headstock. Not the headstock shape, that's fine, but don't want to cheat it. I'm getting a wee bit behind in the chat again. Bernie. Fernandez still made in Japan and China. Fernandez owns makes Bernie. Right. Actually, there's somebody selling a Bernie on Facebook Marketplace here just now. He's selling, I think it's 5 guitars, and it's like £450 each, no offer. So it seems bizarre that he's got like, I think it's 2 tellies, a Strat, a Les Paul, and something else. And they're all exactly the same price, which is kind of like, right, they're all exactly the same price. And one of them's a Bernie Les Paul, which I think that's pretty cheap, because are Bernie not one of those ones that's like Orville, which have never been cheap enough to be in my books, but they're well known for if you kind of buy that, it's kind of the same price as an Epiphone, same quality as a Gibson. I know, but it says Bernie on the headstock, which is fine. But a Tokai Strat, which was painted in brown gloss. Oh, you never know when you buy these things, as long as you paid a decent price for it. It's like, if you know it's been repainted. I mean, I actually bought that bass there off my pal who runs runs a famous Facebook site. So you don't know who it is, and he found it for me because it was in a European country where you can get these things and they're not worth really any money, and it was really cheap, and it was red, and it was pure rare being a red one. Never, have you even seen a red one before? And then it was like, I kind of told them not to even clean it. It took me like a year to get it. When I got it off, I opened the case, and it was like the most horrible terracotta red. You could see the brush strokes on it. It looked awful. I was pure gutted. It was like, oh no. I mean, I didn't really pay that much for it. To be honest, if I'd seen it here painted red, I would have bought it for what I paid for it anyway. But I couldn't believe it when I was trying to. It was like, the thing is, I don't know how he didn't notice, because it didn't have the Washburn logo in the headstock, because it had been painted with a brush terracotta red. I couldn't believe how it would come up. In fact, actually, if you look in the back, I've not done the. It's got a wooden truss rod cover. That went in my mouth, whatever it was. It was either a dead fly or some dust. I need to drink some bucket with it. But that was the colour of it there, the whole guitar. And it's like, I really need to scrape at least half of that because that's actually a wooden truss rod cover, which is body matched to the guitar. These things are amazing if you can find one. This is a Washburn Vulture, through neck and all that. It's heavy. Not that heavy. It's like 4 point. Is it? Was recommended at 4.8 kilograms, which is heavy for a guitar, but this is 4.3, so it's like you get used to these things. I hope it wasn't a wasp, because it was a wasp I managed to batter off the roof one time, and it kind of went boing boing and went into the light fitting. Yeah. But I bet you the Tokai is really good. I don't know enough about Tokais. Tokais are ones that's like, I think you really have to know kind of what you're looking at. Mind you, that's probably the same for Ibanez and Washburn and stuff like that. It's just that I do know now what I'm looking for. The only Tokai I've got is plastic. It's got a wooden fingerboard and there's nothing else wood on the guitar. Neck's carbon fibre, graphite, fiberglass. The body's plastic full of foam. I actually ended up getting that working quite well. Needed quite a lot of fret work on it, but that's not the guitar's fault. Picked up an SG Chipson, which is ace, but keep getting mixed feedback on them. But after a bit of setting up, I was more than happy. The problem, did you buy it from China, your AliExpress? Because that's where the problem comes in. I think if you can play it, you might get something pure amazing. Because I mean, those Telecasters I was buying were fantastic. Those Telecasters were what we pay £300 for a guitar for, and it cost £36 for delivered for the guitar, brand new, and that wasn't even from the factory. So I mean, that was from from an agent who had some guitars. It's like the difference of because I was in Shenzhen in China, so I was getting them delivered from another province or whatever it was. It was only £3 to get delivered or something included in the price. And I could send it back if it didn't work, which I did with that Gibson Les Paul I was talking about, or the Chipson Les Paul with the neck angle that was all wonky. But you don't know who it is that makes it. It's not one factory churning them out. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think there's an element of what's the factory that I got my tellies from? It's called Fire Eagle, but it didn't say Fire Eagle on it. It said Fender. If it said Fire Eagle, I would have been well happy. But the actual factory is called Fire Eagle, or it translates as Fire Eagle, and those guitars are fine. Needing a little bit of, the frets are put in. They're not leveled and crowned. So, I mean, but if you're paying £36 for a guitar, you don't mind doing that. It's when you pay £300 for the same guitar over here with a famous brand on it. Well, that mine had Fender written on it, but if it with another famous brand, it's kind of like Fender, but not quite, and it's the same. They've not bothered setting it up. You worry about it. But if you got a good one, then if you can try it out, go for it. I actually ended up having to sell that. One of David Hill, I've not seen him for a while. It must be working. If it badgered me to buy that off me for ages, and eventually I gave up and just went, right, so I'll go back to China one day and buy another one. I didn't tell him how much it cost though. I've actually still got a couple of guitars waiting for me over there. Once COVID's over and I can go over and get them. But it's the setting up thing is like, if you don't really know what you're doing setting up, you can spend the whole evening on it, and you can sort out most things. Looking up YouTube videos and just fidgeting with it. And if you bought it cheap, that's fine. Obviously, you can see why if you're talking about a guitar coming out of a factory for £20, you can see why it wasn't set up at the factory. Because if it takes somebody who's really well trained and knows exactly what they're doing, half an hour to an hour to do that, there's your £20. It's now no longer a £20 guitar; it's a £40 guitar. So the big company's like, no, don't bother. We'll get it set up later on. So it gets put in the box. It goes into the guitar shop, and the guitar shop goes, "Oh, which guitars do you want?" There you go. Still in the box. Bernie White, Randy Rhoads custom. I don't like Randy Rhoads, but I mean, I don't know. The only really Bernies I've seen is I think 350 is probably pretty good though. I think they're Japanese. I don't know. What's the oddball of your guitar basses? I think it's probably just the 8-string bass. Because it's an 8-string bass. I don't know if I've again really. Ones I've built are pretty stupid. The 3-neck flying V, the flying M, that's pretty crazy. The double neck Telecaster made out of a door, that's pretty crazy. But I don't know how odd they get. You know, it's like those are still actually guitars. I don't know. Like maybe the Shocking Bird, the one that's that one I was talking about using in the studio. In fact, you can actually see the corner of it there. There, it's got like, it looks like you think, oh, it might be a Mockingbird, and it's like, well, that bit there I did draw around a Mockingbird. The rest of it I drew around a telly though, and it's just made out of a joist. So that's quite odd. I might actually. I dig that. I really enjoyed that. I actually took a bit of. I was a video I was going to put live and I decided not to. In the studio, I was talking to the singer. I take the wee GoPro in just to record the rehearsals, and then I was up here playing. I can get this to explain to the singers. I can get this crazy feedback thing going, which I can't do because the pickup's slightly microphonic. And he's like, up here, all right, microphonic. I was up here, right, dunk, dunk, dunk. I was up here, yeah, so I can probably even talk into it. Like, and then I just went into it. And then when I put the guitar down, bass player, tears in his eye, drummer nearly fell off his drum stool because it was like it came through sounding like a distorted robot or something. So I'm going to try and possibly put that into one of our songs where I'm actually going to shout something into the pickup. It's not super. We weren't really playing that loud. So when we do this gig in a couple of weeks' time, I will be taking a secondary spare guitar in case it's too microphonic-y. But when you've got like a microphonic pickup, it really makes the guitar sound really alive. That the one that's in that, the Darzo Super Distortion in that is really microphonic. That was why I paid 20 quid for 2 of them. I didn't realise that at the time. Yeah. Travel guitar, mini guitar. I've got the Wee V, which is actually a Greg Bennett, and I bought it in the Barras. I think I paid a $5 for it. Some pure stupid tenner. Did he want 20 and I offered him 15 because the bridge was burst, something like that. And then I got home and it was these things new were like 250 quid for a mini Flying V. I need to sell that because the whole point of the mini thing is like for travel, and it's like anytime I'm ever traveling, it's like, you know, talking about going camping or going to download or something like that, and it's like the amount of extra effort it takes to take a full-size guitar is nothing really. I need to put that for sale. Well remembered. I don't know. The oddball ones, I mean, to be honest, quite a lot of them are probably classed as oddballs. I'm sure that, you know, something like that's quite oddball. I've only ever seen about 6 of those ever. I've got 3 of them. My pal Wayne's got 2 of them. And there was a bass. Okay, 7, because I've seen the bass twice. That's it. That's the entirety of all the time looking for it I've ever seen that guitar. I'm sure folk would consider that an oddball. That's an SG. I'm sure that's an oddball. The Clipper's an oddball. This, I don't think it's an oddball. I'm going to get my Shocking Bird just because I mentioned it. I really like it. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of getting a bit pissed. So I don't like having somebody else's guitar on. Also, it's goddamn heavy. Oh. Yeah, here we go. This is what it's all about. I was specifically told by the bands that that's the guitar you're using at the gig, isn't it? It's like up here. Well, Canna. It's up here. Yeah, oh, it weighs nothing. Fantastic. So this is quite an oddball. How often do you see a Les Paul scaled Telecaster with a horn on it and only one single coil pickup? Oh, bought a Bernie SG for 200, but it was Chinese. See, you don't know about these things. It's like, I think Tokai as well. I think, see, if you go back maybe 10 years, I don't think you got cheap Tokais. I think the only Tokais you got were Japanese ones, were like, you know, sort of Gibson rivals, and then suddenly they became more popular and there became a cheaper range of them. So it's just, I suppose I don't know. So if you do your research, because thing is, it's great being able to do the research. Hey, that Scottish dude. What was I saying? The researchy thing. And then it's still taking things with a grain of salt because there's an awful lot of rubbish online, especially. I mean, I know that looking. See if you're mad into Washburns like I am. see, one of the main sites which hasn't been touched in about 10 or 15 years, I think it's 2012 or something like that, it was the last time it was updated. It says something about, they know that that's made, these ones are Yamaki, but the slightly later ones is up here. Not sure it was made, possibly Matsumoku. And see, from that piece of information, there's so many sites that say that Washburn or Matsumoku built for all of them. And it's like, it all stems from that, but it doesn't even say on that page it was made. It just says, don't know who made this, it could be. And then it's like the number of ones you see that are just Matsumoku Washburns. And according to the guy who actually built, who designed the stage series, who I've not met, but the guys on the Washburn, the Daeon site, the Yamaki guys have actually I've met him and talked to him, and he designed that. And Washburn were never made by Matsumoku. They were kind of rivals. It's like there was factories you got on with and factories you didn't, and that was one of the ones that they didn't get on with. So they never were, definitely, there's no Washburn Matsumoku. There's ever. So anyone you see is wrong. Fingerboard oil, IKEA countertop oil. Well, this is actually covered in kitchen worktop oil. Well, it's actually, it's good because it's a joist anyway. It's obviously it's treated, but it's actually covered in. It's not IKEA worktop oil. It's kitchen worktop oil that I used for when I was doing a kitchen, and I kept a tin of it. I don't know if I'd still be able to use it. Eventually, the tin ended up with like a sort of super solid rubber coating. Like, the tin would maybe that in it, and the top 10 mil was just like a solid block. But if you kind of stab through it with a screwdriver, there's still liquid at the bottom. I think that's how I did this. Fingerboard oil, linseed oil. Scott was talking about it. There's a tech tips video come up about that. The boat picture, it was just it says, do you want, they rearranged the live stream. It used to say, like a couple of weeks ago, the time I was pure panicked and on 10 minutes later and came on pure sweating because he changed it. It used to say, when you type go live, it used to come up with taking photo in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I would like do something stupid, and that would be the photo. Now it says, oh, you can upload a photo, and it's like, oh, what photo? And the reason that it's a boat is we've got one of the songs in my band, Cranking House, is called Dragon Ships, and it's about like Viking ships, and there's this chorus is Valhalla. We go Valhalla, I can hear it calling me. So the drummer was away on holiday up north somewhere, and he saw a wee boat that said Valhalla on it, so he posted it in the thingy, and then I must have downloaded it. It was just a random photo. So it wasn't a brilliant story, was it? It wasn't even me that saw the boat. It's just that we've got a song that's called Dragon Ships, and it says Valhalla in it, so the drummer had taken a photo of it. It's not me that sings it, by the way. The singer's much, much, much better than I am. There is a linseed oil thing problem. You can get refined linseed. I don't know, but I know it's lemon oil is the one. I don't recommend lemon oil. I had most of the time, I never really used the oil for a guitar, like a good guitar. I was using it for, see, when you buy really, really, really cheap rosewood guitars where the fretboard kind of looks like it's made of powder, like trying to pour some sort of crap into that to make it look brown. I bought stuff called Dr. Stringfellow's lemon oil, and that stuff, it kind of did make it go darker, but it was so unbelievably toxic. It was unbelievable. It was like, you could put this, you put it on it, and then you put it on, and even if you were wearing gloves, it would seep through, and you just smell lemons no matter what you did. You'll go in with a Dettol and all that, like trying to scrub it off your hands. And basically, anytime I ever used that, I had to physically keep the guitar in the garage for a week. Otherwise, because if it was in the room, even if it was like in my last house, I could be twice as far away. You're talking about 8 meters away in the corner. I'd just be sitting there over there. That'd be fine. And then it's been in the garage overnight, so it's a date, and then it'd be sitting there, and I'd be watching telly, be sitting there, and my eyes would start burning. And it's really noxious. But the stuff, I got some off my pal Chrissy, who actually, I think he said he was steaming, and he bought a bottle of it, and actually like 5 bottles arrived, so that was why he gave it to me. I was like, all right. She was just too embarrassed to say he'd accidentally bought 5 bottles. Can't be expensive. It's Jim Dunlop, I think. Some sort of, and it's good. I think I need to read on the back of what it is. I think it's a mixture of linseed and tongue or whatever it is, but it really works. And you put it on, and I still wouldn't be licking it, but it's not that thing where you've got days and days and days of it pure stinking, and you can smell it on your fingers and stuff, but it's not that pure acrid, burny your eyes, burny your throat, think you're going to die smell. Really good. In fact, it was only today that I put it on this EBO. So I mean, okay, you can sort of, but that's me right up proper sniffing the board. That could be there's an album title for someone sniffing the board, Pierre. And there's your cover. Yeah, so I've got this in getting a setup. The classic EBO, and I had to make a backplate for it, which I wish I hadn't agreed to do, but I did it. Just made it out of metal. These things are all right. They're kind of, if you're wanting the EBO sound, they kind of do it. But if you're looking for that pure, we're thinking of doing some some level 42, or we're doing a little bit of slapping and popping, and it's like no, or we're doing heavy metal, no, we're doing really muddy, boom boom, free type stuff. Oh, you're in luck. Lemon essential oil in the way they do in ebony clarinets. I don't know. Oh, I never thought of that. I can maybe use that on the Raven, the Falcon fingerboard. I've not really tried that because it's got ebony, but it's something spilt on it at some point. Like the thing's 40 years old, so at some point, so it's kind of, it doesn't have that ebony. The ebony on my SG, my Gibson SG, is kind of like, it kind of looks like glass or something. It doesn't look like it's ebony. It doesn't look like wood. It looks like obsidian is the word I'm looking for. So I don't know what it is, or maybe it's just been lacquered or something. I take it that's 10 coats on the thin line copy. I actually noticed that I bought a cheapy Jazzmaster thing, and the neck on it was fucked, so it's in the bin. But I had another neck, and it had I reshaped it. It was a horrible shape, so I reshaped it to look a bit more Fendery, and I took off the writing, so it was like a sanded top, but it was still lacquered around the edges. And see, I was putting that stuff on the fingerboards. I was like, if I just what if I just put it on the headstock, and what a wow! It looked amazing. Immediately, it just came up. You can see the grain. It looked like it had been finished just with the fretboard cleaner shit. What a thing that did. You start wondering what I could do with this. Amazing. Any idea how much a 1984 Ibanez Destroyer bass is worth? I'll give you 100 quid for it. I don't know what they're worth. I saw one, which I didn't buy. I should have. It was before I started doing the really getting mad into the guitar-y things. I think it was only 250 quid. A black one. It was a 1985 one, I think. Black with binding on it and stuff like that. And it was the neck. It needed the truss rod adjusted, stuff like that. I didn't buy it. But, I would take a Destroyer bass. 400 quid maybe. But I mean, it'll be better than anything you could buy just now for 1,200 quid. But it's not a known thing. Nobody knows about the Destroyer bass. So how good it is doesn't matter. There's a difference between how good it is and how much it's worth. If you rated my guitars, the ones you can see hanging up just now, apart from the sword one in the corner, they would all be £2,000 each, quality-wise, but nobody knows what they are. If that was, like a Les Paul and that was an Explorer, they would be worth £2,000, but these guitars are better than the Gibson versions by every single measure you could possibly have, apart from it doesn't say Gibson on it, and Jimmy Page didn't play a Washburn, and they're not popular now. It's amazing. The talk of wood. Oh, we could talk about wood all the time. I don't know. This one, all I can say is this is one of the most. I'm pretty sure I've played acoustics that don't sound as good as this, and this is literally two joists stuck together and then covered in worktop oil. And it comes through it as well. Can I talk into it? I see. Maybe I think we need the fuzz pedal. Hey, Sam Black. Hello, Geosonic, Chris. Worth finding a Geosonic, worth finding a good one, or just a Stratocaster mid? No, it's a completely different guitar. It's a Geosonic's. Well, I'm putting a Geosonic and a Mustang and to a certain degree a Music Master in the same camp. No, I think it's a bona fide different Fender. There's like you get your Telly, you get your Strat, you get your Jaguar. The Mustang / Geosonic is a bona fide new design. It isn't really like anything else, and I really like it. I think they might be a slightly shorter scale. They might be 22-inch scale. But the thing is, when you've got like the two pickups, I always put a switch I call a Gilmore switch. Burns used to call it a Wild Dog switch, which gives you the outside two coils, and it's if you fit that to your Strat, that sound, so you can get the bridge pickup and the neck pickup together, it could be the best sound the guitar's got. Definitely, you obviously you start off with 5 sounds. It's definitely top 3. The neck pickup on its own is awesome, and the neck and middle is awesome. It's probably the 3rd best sound in a Strat if you fit it. So it's awesome. Yes, I dig the Geosonics. See if you're slightly short or thin, probably amazing. If you're a bit like me and a bit fatter, but bigger than me, if you're like 6.5 feet tall and 20 stone, you're going to look a bit silly with it because it's going to look tiny, like the opposite Angus Young with his SG. Like if I play an SG, it looks really wee on me. I was really surprised when I bought my SG because I was like, is this the same as Angus Young's one? Because Angus Young looks an awful lot bigger. It's like, it's not only when you actually see Angus Young, it's like, oh my God, he's tiny. I went to an exhibition and it had one of his schoolboy outfits on a mannequin, and it was like, I think it was in a case, so it was like, but it was on a mannequin. It was like a foot high case, and it was still shorter than me. And you're just like, it's like, just like everything. If you ever wonder how big Angus Young is, look up the AC/DC Big Gun video which is from the Arnold Schwarzenegger film Last Action Hero, because they did a song on it. And there's a video and Arnie's dressed as Angus playing the SG, and Angus kind of. Arnie's kind of is a policeman in it, and he's kind of coming through the crowd at an AC/DC concert. And one of the baddies throws a stick of dynamite onto the stage, and Angus stands on it and explodes, and then becomes Arnie. And Arnie's got the SG, the schoolboy uniform, and it's like, it's really silly. And then there's a bit at the end where Angus is sitting on Arnie's shoulder, and they're walking out into the crowd, like on the the bit of the stage that goes out into the crowd, and it's like it looks Photoshop, like your Lord of the Rings thing where it's perspective. It's not. I mean, obviously Arnie's huge, but when you see Angus Young sitting on his shoulder, it's like, how did they CGI that? He didn't. He's tiny little guy. Guitar's got to sound good acoustically. I think so. Yeah. Tone oil. Wow. We're really getting into tone oil. I don't know. I mean, is it because this doesn't have any finish on it? It's not built by a master luthier. I built it using a jigsaw and a kitchen worktop router, so it can't be anything to do with that. This neck is a fresher, but you get the string butler where because the angle is bad Gibson design, but they keep doing it because that's what a Gibson looks like. Oh, we can improve that problem. No, that's not what we did in 1956. So we've got to do it. Even though it's a stupid idea, for when you're coming from this tuner onto the bridge, the nut is coming in at a funny angle, which means it always gets stuck there. What I did was I stuck wee rollers in, and those wee rollers are basically the ball end off a bass string with a screw through the middle of it. So that if you look at this, unlike every Les Paul, these two strings are coming onto the nut in a straight line, so it doesn't go out of tune when you bend the strings. So there's an idea. What wood is the neck? What wood? Well, I think it's mahogany. This I got out my friend's bin. Because he bought it with the headstock snapped off. And what he said was, he used to always call me Malky. And if you ever meet me, don't call me Malky. I always hate being called Malky. But it's like, so if you ever do call me that, I'll immediately, in case it sticks, because I didn't do it with my pal Jim, and it continued. So I wish I'd just said it first time. I'll pure jumpy go, I'm not Malky. Malcolm or Malk's fine, but not Malky. Don't like that. But yeah, so imagine like a hacksaw blade. Okay, yeah. Is that, can you reckon you could bend that? And I was like, up here, well, hacksaw blade's bendy. No, I mean, bend it like along its axis. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure you could bend that. That's going to be pretty strong. You know, it's like that thick. It's up here. Yeah, so that's what's in this neck. This neck has hacksaw blades running from there to there, like 3 of them, down the center of the neck to strengthen the glued joint. And it looks hideous. It's quite a lot of filler and stuff in it. Basically, I just painted it red, so it's quite lumpy and quite tactile stuck on it. And even this bit here, see, it's got this bit here where you've got like a slightly thinner bit. Do you know why that is? It's because the only neck screws I could find weren't long enough. So I was like, hold on, if I just file that down a little bit, you know, get 5 mil off it, it'll give the neck bolts a bit. But it's got that. I've seen that on Yamahas and stuff. It kind of looks like something. Also, you can see the face in it. That was why I chose these. See, like the tongue, the nose, and the 2 eyes. Kind of looks like that. I don't even know what animal he is in Ice Age. So I did that before I'd even built the guitar. And one of the reasons why it's only got the 1 pickup is, mind you, there is a room. But the thing is now, I really love this. There's still the age-old question of whether I put this dog ear P90 in the neck. Is it going to make it less good? Is part of the reason this sounds so good it's only got 1 wire in it and this is all solid? I don't know. I'm kind of scared. What guitar cleaner should I use for my Harley Benton Gold Top? I've never actually bought any proper guitar cleaner. Elbow grease. Basically just rub away at it with a good cloth. It will be a poly finish. I don't know. I mean, I've had a couple of just to keep it clean. I don't know, just pledge or something. It's plastic. It doesn't really care what you do it with. I had a tendency, if a guitar's pure manky, I've used like in fact they're sitting there. Yeah, these sort of things, antibacterial multi-surface wipes, if it's pure minging, just to get, because the idea, especially if you're buying a guitar, which I do quite a lot, you know, for 20, 30 quid, it's been sitting in an attic, it's pure minging. You don't, basically you just want the most of the shit off it and in the bin as quickly as possible. Just get it off so it doesn't touch anything. I'm not particularly clean myself, but someone else's dirt. You know, I don't clean my jeans enough, but they're my jeans. I would just kind of wipe that up. No polyester. I use petrol. You could use petrol, I suppose. That would get you high as well. Soapy water. Like, see, I went through a stage of taking stickers off guitars using, you said, it's like, you know, it's actually still there, you know, lighter fluid and all that, and sitting there and try to use it, and it's like you're dissolving the chemicals. See, basically, before you try that, it actually happened with that SG there, the Tony Iommi one. It was totally sticker bombed, and it was like, with the lighter fluid, it would have taken hours and days to get it all off. And I just basically just filled up the sink in the kitchen with fairy liquid and hot water, just dumped the bastard in and just scraped it off with my fingernails, and 90% of it came off really easy. So basically, soapy water is the one. I don't know if I would really want to be doing that too much if it was like an exposed finish, but if you've got like the poly finish, go for it. Go for it. That's the way to do it. Is Angus 5'2"? For Glasgow, for Springburn, I think, if you're more accurate. But yeah, totally. Every time I drive through Springburn, any of my videos, I always have to mention the fact that Donovan and the Young brothers came from Springburn. Scottish brothers, yeah, there you go. Yeah, and obviously, and Bon Scott as well. He's from Kirriemuir, which I've never been, but you drive past a sign that says Kirriemuir on the way to Perth, so it's not far away. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could get there within an hour, and apparently there's a statue of him somewhere. I think Kirriemuir is just a wee village, very much like the one I live in, apart from Bon Scott came from there. But Bon Scott, obviously, they moved to Australia when I think we were all quite young. Like Angus and Malcolm were only like 5-year-old sort of thing, so they don't even really remember being Scottish, so they not really. Whereas Bon Scott, his name's Ronald Scott, and he was called Bon Scott for Bonnie Scotland because he was the Scottish kid at the Australian school. Well, there you go. For a Scottish band, I have the exhibition I went to see was called Family Jewels or something, and it toured Australia and done very well. And then it was like, well, We could take it to Glasgow and say it's our homegrown product as well, even though they're, let's be honest, they're Australian, but they are so Scottish. Hey, Mr. White, I'm so fortunate to have an in-house luthier at the country club. There you go. Well, if you've got a Fender custom shop, I'd understand it. I was in a shop in Glasgow called Jimmy Egypt's, who I've badmouthed before, which I shouldn't have, if I'm honest. He seemed really nice when I talked to him. It was 20 years ago when I saw him, and I might have been stoned. I don't know, or drunk or pissed or asking a stupid question while he was doing something important. He seemed dead grumpy. So really judging everything on a 2-minute conversation 20 years ago doesn't constitute, but he seemed really nice when I saw him the other day. So I've got a video of that coming up this week. And even Scott, who's like he's actually worked as a guitar tech. He's getting his guitar frets done by like someone who knows what they're doing. Because there is a point, if you've got like a really, really, really good one, you're not going to take like to a proper luthier. Well, you could. There's only so good you can get a Squire, basically. I could kind of get a Squire as good as it's going to be, but if you're talking about like a really expensive guitar, there's only so good I can get it. Like someone who really knows what they're doing will cost 10 times as much, but will get it that much better. You know, and it's like if it's the most expensive guitar in the world, then it's worth getting the absolute best. Do you know what I mean? If you've got a Ferrari, you run it on the high octane petrol. There's no point running the Panda on the high octane petrol. So many great two guitar bands. See, I keep having this argument every time with the singer in my band because we're a one guitar band, and he's like, "All the best bands have got two guitars." I said, no, one guitar. He actually, before I'd only been in the band for about a month or something like that, and he was talking about getting a second guitarist. I was like, "Yeah, totally. Well, I don't want to be in a band with two guitars. I like the space because all the best bands have got one guitar in them." And I was like, "But I'll totally stay in until you find another guitarist to replace me," sort of thing. And he was like, "What, you mean you're going to leave?" And it was like, "Well, I'd only been in the band 2 weeks. I wouldn't stamp my foot on it now, but one guitar bands are best, not two guitar bands, sorry. Black Sabbath, The Who, The Doors. That's that really. But I mean, there are. I just feel it's dead limiting when you've got two guitars. It means one, he's got to play rhythm, which works really well if you're as good as Angus and Malcolm Young, Judas Priest, Thin Lizzy. Yeah. You know what I mean? But Led Zeppelin, Sabbath, the Stones, one guitar. We're talking. get a wee bit caught up. Oh no, I've lost my battery. Keeps resetting, going out. So the temperature's dropped up here. I don't know if anyone else is up in Glasgow. By God, it's now dark. I'm pretty sure it was daylight when I was doing the streams before, and by this point, sweat would be streaming out my face. But it's not really that warm, and I've not put the heating on yet. Well, there you go. Not easy to do well. Maybe that might be something to do with it. Vinegar and water. Oh, vinegar, yeah, totally. Kennymuir have an annual Bonfest? Maybe they do, yeah. I don't know, you bet so. Still white vinegar. That sounds very much like there used to be an old British show where it was like two fat women, old women who used to go around to people's houses with like marigold gloves on, and they would use shit like vinegar and baking soda and all that to clean things rather than flash. There you go. Oh. All right, Tim. I've never been to Kennymuir. It is somewhere near Perth, the way, or I'm pretty sure even saying Perth, I start going at the end of it because it's over that way. It's somewhere around about there. It's somewhere northeast, or probably not that northeast if you're actually from Aberdeen, but or Inverness, but somewhere up there. I don't have a Fender custom shop. I'm not a dick. Well, if I certainly wouldn't have one, but I mean, there must be a point when you've got so much money, you don't know what you want to do with it. And if you look at them, they do look nice. Sort of, yeah. I just can't. I can't. I think even if I won the lottery, I can't see myself buying, like a £2,000 guitar, really, unless it was Tony Iommi's guitar or one that Pete Townsend used to play, something like that. I can see how it would be worth it, but not for just a guitar. I mean, if you get like a pretty good guitar and get it set up and playing well, it's only going to, you can only get that much better. I mean, some like even pretty much all the ones you can see on the wall behind me are pretty much as good as you can get with a guitar. You could argue that, oh, you're going to put up that Grant in the corner up against a £10,000 Gibson 58 or whatever it is, and it's like, well, I would, and if it's 99% as good, or 90% absolute minimum as good, and it's like, yeah, didn't cost 90% of the money, you know what I mean? But some people do it. Yeah, that is Daniel. That is a vintage SG that I've converted into the Tony Iommi one, which I've been talking about doing for months and months and months and months and months. And when I did it, it was £22,000 for the Gibson Tony Iommi one, and then it took me so long to do it because nothing worked. Everything was an absolute pig on it, but it's now working. All I've got to do now is screw on the pickup surrounds, which I had to make myself because I actually bought the proper correct from John Birch pickup surrounds sitting there, and they don't fit on that guitar. It's not, because it's not a Gibson, although it looks like one. The angles are slightly different, and the bridge, which I didn't want to use, in fact, it's sitting there as well. The actual, you can see that is actually a Leo Kwan badass made in America bridge, which is what's actually on Tony Iommi's guitar. But it's not even on the £22,000 one. They've got a copy. So that's a real one, which I bought for a tenner on eBay, I don't know, 5 years ago for another guitar. And it's kind of, in fact, it was on my Wee V, which I got in Ibanez for a tenner. And then I've been looking them up, and there's folks selling them for 150 quid and stuff. So it's like, it's not going on that, because that's kind of half what I'm going to be wanting for that guitar when it's done. No, it's not ready to be unveiled yet, though. But it's now playing. It's basically just a vintage issue. You can have a wee sneak preview, even though I've not screwed on the pickers. It's still got some screws to go in it, but it's not a bad approximation of the Tony Iommi Monkey guitar. It's a really nice wood. So you can actually buy the Monkey sticker. It's 12 quid. I refuse to spend 12 quid on the Monkey sticker, so I'll just when I sell this, I'm just going to give somebody the link. You can spend 12 quid on a Monkey sticker if you want. And as you say, it's a vintage. There is obviously a possibility. Oh, do you reshape the headstock and put the Gibson? No, I'm not hiding the fact that it's what it is. I refuse to pay even the cheaper version. I was saying that it was 22 grand for the Gibson custom shop signed by Tony Iommi version. They brought out a budget model, which is basically an SG special, and it's still 3 grand or something. It's like, honestly, 3 grand easily buys you an actual 1968 Gibson Les Paul special, Gibson SG special. I'm pretty sure I've seen them a few times, and it was like pure. In the grand scheme of things, if I was going to buy one expensive guitar, the only one I can really think of getting would be a late 60s SG special with the P90s in it, like because Mike Oldfield, Pete Townsend, and Tony Iommi, and they're not that expensive. They are 1,500 quid, which is not that expensive considering you can go in. How much does a new Les Paul cost? 2.5 grand. It's like, well, and I don't even like Les Pauls, so I would never buy one anyway. Yeah, you can buy Pontiac. You can obviously buy. I think the thing about buying stuff from StewMac is, if you're proper pro and you are doing, I was looking at it, buying nut files, thinking I tried to buy nut files, and it was like 100 quid for the set or £60 for the set, and it's like, if I spent all day every day doing nuts, yeah, but I'm not spending 60 quid on tools. It's like, sod that, unless it's something I can use for lots of things. I think there's an awful lot of people, you see people sometimes selling it second hand, and it's like they had a guitar that they thought they'd try and fix themselves, and they just blew 300 quid on files and stuff, and you're like, and then they're selling it off, and it's still, even when they're selling it off at half the price they paid you, I'm still going, I'm not fucking paying that for that. But I'm not a pro. Well, maybe one day. I think if you're spending all day every day doing it, but I mean, I'm not doing a nut every day. I'm doing a nut every 2 weeks or something like that, and I quit. It takes a bit longer, so I'm sure if I had the proper files, it would take me 10 minutes to do a nut, whereas just now it takes me half an hour. I have to be doing an awful lot to make it worthy of it. But I mean, I'm sure the StewMac cleaner is amazing. But how many guitars are you cleaning? Are you just cleaning one or two? It's like, I don't know. Oh, Pontiac, you disagree? What was it you were disagreeing with? I don't know. Sorry, I've gone behind a little bit. Oh, you're probably talking about the two guitar thing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Blah, blah, blah. I've scroll down, catch up with whatever's news. Right, load of worms. Steve's got it. So, geez, Jeff, 3 cutter bands. Oh, I can't remember. 3 guitar bands. So you're talking, well, basically Iron Maiden and Leonard Skinner, and what's about? If I won the lottery, I would get a classic vibe jazz master. If it was more than 10, probably would probably get a P bass and all. Well, fair enough. I think, to be honest, if I won 10 million, I maybe would buy some other ones. I'd maybe just, I'd probably do is, I don't think I would stop to the YouTube. I'd probably buy like a Les Paul and then compare that to it and go like, here's a Les Paul. This costs $6,000, and I'd want to compare it to that and see what happens. Try and up the prices of these things. I'm going back now. I have an EPSG and a Squire Showmaster. That's it. There's nothing you can't do with an Epiphone SG and a Squire Showmaster. Really, the Showmaster is not the Floyd Rose one, because I mean it could be better. No, but I mean, but I do understand why if you're touring the world and playing every night on an American tour or something like that, probably your Squire and your Epiphone SG aren't going to cut it for 200 nights consecutive being battered for 2 hours. You're probably going to start finding, the tuners will be sweated through and they'll need replaced, and it maybe won't hold tune quite as well and all these things. But if you're playing it in the house or doing a gig a week or a gig every 2 weeks, there's not going to be any issue. The thing is, you've got to remember as well, these people who, a lot of the people who do these world tours and stuff, they don't have to pay for their guitars. Gibson comes up to them and says, right, well, do you want to be a Gibson endorsee? We'll give you a new guitar. Free guitar, huh? Well, there you go, rather than paying for it. But no, an EPSG, you kind of covered all the bases with an SG and a Showmaster. Even the Showmaster's got like a humbucker in the bridge anyway, so you didn't even need it to be a Showmaster. A Strat would have done you nice. It does a kind of single coily sounds. An SG would do your thingy. No, don't need any more than that. That and a wee tube amp for me anyway. Or if you're a bit more pedally or something, I get like a wee modelling amp or something, it'd be totally fine. Hey Ruben, how's it going? The Beatles started this guitar. They did, totally. Actually, the first band I ever joined had 4 guitarists in it. That's why I ended up playing bass, because nobody else could play the bass. Because I borrowed a bass the first time I went into the studio. I had played the bass for, in total, in my life, less than an hour the first time I went into the studio playing the bass. And I didn't even know when I borrowed it. And it was like, I'll bring in a bass. I'd taken in my guitar as well. And it was like 3 guitarists, me playing the bass and a drummer. And it was like, when you're all beginners, it was really, I remember somebody video cameraed it. I remember fast forwarding through the video camera, and it had the 3 guitarists like that, and they were just totally in sync, because obviously if you've only played guitar for 6 months, you're not able to do the Leonard Skinner Iron Maiden thing where you leave space for other people. One of the things I really enjoy about the band I'm in just now, the Cranking House one, playing the guitar, is I've got so much space, so there's bits where I'm just pure going, and it just sounds amazing. Like big stabs, and there's so much space. The bass player plays an EBO, so he's really, really bassy, and you get drums and singing. So I've just got so much room. So it's like that ability to pure slow it right down and play single note stuff that I'm just making up on the spot is tremendous fun. Whether it sounds good or not, I don't know, but I mean, it feels. You really are dancing with death, though. Was that a wee bit of an Iron Maiden reference when you're doing that? Because if it doesn't go well, it sounds horrendous. But when it works, it sounds fantastic. So basically, probably if you come to see us live anytime in any song, there will be bits where it will actually sound genuinely really good in pro, and then it'll just go and crush when I hit the one note wrong, or don't let it ring because it's so flipping loud. Really dangerous, but I suppose if you're just kind of strumming away, there's not really that much to mess up. you're just part of the sound. Whereas when you're just doing what I'm doing, it's like I'm playing single note leads that are really thin sounding, which works amazing for, I'd say now, more than half the time. One of the Beatles are four. Was it the classic Paul McCartney quote? Was that here? Was so do you think Ringo was the best drummer in the world? And it's like, well, he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. But I think he totally regretted that because Ringo got really upset. And the thing is, Ringo is really good. He does something different from everyone else. What about a live stream with an audience? It is a live stream. How? Is there some way of, I don't know, it's like a sort of Brady Bunch type splitting the screen? I don't know. I need to get some people who are kind of, maybe other YouTubers. I don't really know any other YouTubers. I know Blacktooth Fox, but I don't really know anyone else. Sorry for going, I know Blacktooth Fox, but I mean, it's like maybe some sort of split screen thing talking. I don't know. Then we could, King Crimson are nuts. Amazing. I actually saw nearly King Crimson. Everybody but Robert Fripp, they were called the 21st Century Schizoid Band, and it was all of the people on the album apart from the guitarist. And Greg Lake wasn't there either, obviously, but it was amazing. I could try it. Yeah, I mean, it's just technology-wise, I'm not very good at this. I think that's why I don't have the amount of videos I put out, and people seem to like it. I think if I was a bit more professional with the editing thing, the problem is that I don't know. The thing about me is that I can't do things I'm not really interested in. I really struggle. Like, see, at school, I couldn't do English or chemistry because I didn't like it. Whereas I was really good at maths because it kind of made sense to me. I quite enjoyed it. And it's like, if it's something I quite enjoy doing, I'm generally pretty good at it. But I really struggle doing something that I don't like, and messing about with computers. I don't like doing it. I just get really, really frustrated. You know, I mean, if you ask me to build a house or something, it's like that'll be awesome. Or here's a problem. We've got this river. Need to build a bridge across it using I'll be straight in there. Absolutely love it. A lot of people couldn't do that. Whereas if it's something that I don't like doing, I struggle, and I'm not a good technology person. With computers, basically because I started at the wrong time. And that first computer I had was when I started computer games. I don't know, it was like MS DOS and stuff like that. And it's like it would take so long to get a game to play, and you just get so pissed off and give up. Get really annoyed about it. But I mean, I could do live stream. I'd probably find it actually. No, I need to try and set it up. I was around here yesterday. I was thinking we should really just do it. Maybe just invite them up. The problem is it's like it doesn't really work sitting down. This room's tiny, so the two of us couldn't really stand next to each other. It would need to be worked out a bit better, but people could ask questions. But the problem is Scott's an awful lot more knowledgeable than me about most things guitar-y. I think I've got the edge with the Japanese guitars, but that's pretty much it. The rest of it's kind of more of a. He's a lot older than me, you know, bastard that is. Got a red Ibanez from Briggs. Oh, did you buy the? I was talking about that. Yeah, that's awesome. That is the one I had. That's the one that's got coil taps in it, and it's like I didn't give it in. I just had it in for the wiring wasn't working. I just basically redid the wiring. Catch you later, Tim. Yeah, no, that's an awesome guitar. That was the one that I think I've probably put something against it now. Basically, it's got these pickups in it. It's got the super sixes. These, which are wider with bigger pole pieces, and they've got 3 screws in it. When I bought this one, Tony wouldn't sell me that guitar. I wanted it. I tried to buy it off, and I decided I had to get an Ibanez Blazer. And by total chance, I found this one about 3 weeks later. And I saw these pickups, and I thought, it's got those pickups in it, but this is a BL400, and that red one is a BL500. And it's got the tap switch. I've got the phase. It's got the tap as well. And I thought because these were the same pickups, it would probably have the extra bit on the back of the pickup so I could fit a tap switch. It didn't. I was gutted. But that tap switch is awesome, and it's super rare to find a guitar with coil taps. Out of all the guitars I've gone through, and we're talking about, it must be 300 I've gone through. Well, not all mine, but and getting fixed. That's the second one that I've ever come across with coil taps, because taps are different. And did you have problems with it having quite a loud buzz in it? It disappears when I touch the metalwork. I didn't know, but kind of depends on your amp as well, though. I mean, it's just like if I put on like a no, I'm not really that loud. It depends on how much what your amp's doing. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that's a bad example. It shouldn't have no. It should be fine, but it depends on your amp. And I think a lot of it, see, even if it comes down to like how good the power source is in your house. Like I remember my pal Peg used to have problems with sounds. And I remember he played a Telecaster and then going down to his house, and it was something to do with, there was a dimmer switch, not even in his room, but it was in like a on the limit. Even though the switch wasn't on, it cycled and it went, which came through his guitar, even though the switch was off, like on the living room. And it's like there's wee things like that can make a mess. But I dare say nothing will have happened to it, but it was working. I sorted it all out. So basically, the fact that you can, if you earth it, it goes away, implies there's something creating it. See if you hold. I bet you will do it here. You know what I mean? So pretty much silent. Hold it up against the telly. That kind of thing. It's like it's likely to be something like that. You might find even just the angle or what amp it is you're playing through, or whether the amp's earthed properly. I go through a pair of Adam Audio Studio monitors and an audio, and I don't know anything about that at all. It could be. It's not a ground issue with the guitar if it goes away when you touch the metal. It's a ground issue elsewhere. What's coming out, because basically all that's coming out the guitar is you've got a ground and a signal. So there's only two things. It's something else that's causing it to do that. Maybe you're using just too much gain or something. I don't know. But it is a single coil guitar, so single coils do pick up interference, and it's not. I think it's too early to have the hum cancelling thing. I don't know. It's not a grounding issue. If when you touch it, it stops. That means it is grounded properly. It's something else. It's an external interference, and that might be something coming through your computer. Like it could be a dodgy lead. It could be a slightly, maybe you're. I don't know. I don't know enough about audio interfaces, but I mean, if the guitar stops buzzing when you touch the strings, it's earthed okay. And you're maybe talking, it could be a shielding issue. Like maybe if you went inside it and wrapped the whole thing in tinfoil, it might make it go away or something. Or if you try standing at the other side of the room or something, you might be too close to the amplifier or too close to, like the light switch, or too close to something dodgy. I'm not technical. I'm not technical into that. I don't know about a quick fist. I thought it was an amazing guitar. I tried to buy it, as I said. Unfortunately, I don't think I didn't want to pay how much it was, but I mean that is totally worth it. If you look up how much the Ibanez Blazers is, I mean the what do you put it? Scots one, whatever I put it there. You see them on the internet for 500 quid. If you look up eBay, and that is a BL 100. You've got a BL 500, which is the top of the range. So it's got mine's a 450, but yours a 500. So it's got the tap pickups, but it's got like a brass bridge, brass blocks, brass everything. It's the top of the range Ibanez guitar from 1981. It should be amazing. I was told it's one of the real double coils. No, it's got a coil tap in it, which is different from a coil split. It's somebody. If you look up like the Epiphone website, it will say, "Oh, here's a Les Paul that's got coil taps." It doesn't have coil taps. It's got coil splits. A coil split takes a humbucker and makes it into a single coil. A coil tap is you've got a single coil pickup, right? And say I think it's about 8,000 times the wires wrap round, right? For a hot pickup. but it's 5,000 times for a vintage voiced one. So what they do is they wrap the pickup 5,000 times, put a wee tab on it, and then continue up to 8,000. So what you've got is you've got an earth at the start of the pickup, and then you've got the one that comes out at 5,000 turns, vintage Stratocaster pickup, and then you've got the other one that comes out at 8,000, modern high gain pickup, and you can choose between them. That's what the coil tap does. So you're actually tapping into it. So it should give you like a really, really jangly, one of the best sounding guitars I've ever had, jangly sounding pickup. Or if you're going for the distortion, you put it into the full pickup mode, and I've got an Blazer. It's the same pickup, but I don't have that tap thing in it. So it should work. Got up. I don't think it'd be microphonic pickups. Those pickups, they're called Super Tap 6, and in 1982, in the brochure, it says these are the most powerful pickups, single coil pickups in the world, even including the aftermarket ones. So it's basically saying these are more powerful than DiMarzio pickups, because in 1982 that was really your only aftermarket option. So those pickups should be awesome. And as I said, I've run through it. I did a video on it, and it was sounding fantastic in here, and nothing's been done to it since I touched it, so it should be amazing. It was actually, you must have picked up the other day, because I was in the other day and I noticed it was sitting behind the counter. It's actually in one of my videos, and it said sold on it. The pickup could be microphonic. I don't know. I mean, this one's incredibly microphonic. But it makes it so alive. It just sounds so real. I know you don't hear it because it's really compressed in this live stream, but they're amazing. I saw this hot chick. I wanted to tap that coil. Yeah. Tried wax pot the coil. I don't know, the thing is that if it's got microphonic pickups, what, see if you turn the volume up right, mute the strings, and tap the body. I don't know if you can hear it. That's totally coming through the amp. It's to the point of if I try and do it, see what's good. Put others on it. I should be able to shout through the amp. Is that working? I don't know. Oh! Maybe it has to be up louder than that. But it basically means it acts like a microphone. And what it is it's like a pickup, just a magnet with a wire wrapped around it 10,000 times or 8,000 times, whatever it is. So then they coat it in wax to stop the wax. See the wires that's wrapped around. If some of them have come off, they might vibrate off it, which is kind of basically what a microphone is. But I don't remember that. It shouldn't be. Have you heard of Airborne? Yes, I've heard of Airborne. Me and my dad used to work for my dad. Used to listen to rock radio, which used to be a thing here in Scotland, in Glasgow. And it was a song that went, oh, what was the something too hard, too long, get used to it. A good band, basically like AC/DC. Yeah, that was a few years ago. Haven't seen them since. Don't really listen to that much music these days, which is quite sad. I really should. Oh no. Oh, check out Airborne. They're like AC/DC. You can tell they're not AC/DC, but it's very much a similar sort of thing. And they do have good songs that are quite cheesy and quite catchy, stuff like that. Good. I mean, Ibanez has something terrible in the house, but there's no issues in it. Even shielding it, Rick must be picking up mains interference from the house wiring. It could be something like that. That's what you're talking about. My pal Peg, his when he was staying at his mum and dad's house, we think it was a dimmer switch in the downstairs living room, which is put something through the just dirty power. Basically, you might find that some sort of not a surge protector, but you do get like your line of 4 power socket things. You do get them that have like some sort of transformery thing in it that actually gives you a much cleaner signal, which might sort that, because you might find it's your computer or something else you've got plugged into that mains. Have you tried unplugging that? I mean, see if you've got a heater. Like, a heater would be absolutely. I used to have like a halogen heater. My last house, I think it was 800 watt or something, like a halogen heater, and see it had a motor that turned it. you could turn it on so it kind of wafted left and right a little bit, and that basically, as soon as you turned that on, my stereo, my amp, all went like that, everything. So it might be something as simple as that. Try unplugging or turning off things. You know, maybe a fish tank pump, something like that. I think is what you're pausing. Yeah. I want to get a single coil for the middle. Oh, I'm getting lost here. Single coil from the middle in my guitar. I want to play blues. Any recommendation? I would look at Warman pickups. Depends which guitar it is, I suppose you've got. You probably get 2 humbuckers. So you're thinking of getting a single coil. I'd bet if you've got 2 humbuckers, I would think that what you want to do is put in a coil split, which will split them down to single coils. Don't bother with a middle pickup. That would involve cutting holes and routing, which is expensive and difficult, assuming you've got it. I think you basically want to split the 2 humbuckers down into single coils and then use the middle position, and that'll suit you amazing. I put down a deposit and paid for it 2 days ago. Yeah, I saw it was more than 2 days ago. I was in just the other day though. Try and catch up. Rock radio. We had actual rock radio. Actually, I got tickets to go see Crosby, Stills and Crosby and Nash on the radio, and also got to go to see that AC/DC exhibition, which had free booze. I was fucked. Totally. Me and my pal went in. I got these 2 tickets. Went in. It was like we noticed that we're coming out with glasses of wine. Never been to somewhere with free booze before, so it was like pure coming out of that door out the kitchen, like go and get a glass of wine. And it was like, oh, someone's come out the other door from the kitchen. Like, oh, run over to the other one, get a glass of wine, and we like 6 glasses of wine in 20 minutes, and we were just pure shouting at folk and all that. I remember pure being super abusive to the guy who ran the exhibition. He was pissing himself laughing though, trying to explain because he was talking about Forfar, and he was Australian, and he was going like pure, yes, they're from Forfar. And I was like, no. It's not Forfar, it's Forfar. I was completely steaming. It was hilarious. I like the Angels. Live not far from you and have a Tokai collection. Oh, that'd be quite interesting. Yeah, totally. I totally. Ravensmead at Ravensmead. I don't know anything about Tokai though. It would just be a case of having a wee shot of it. Want to play the blues, get a job, pay the bills. I've never, to be honest, I kind of like, I've done them. The most blues I've listened to is probably in some of these YouTube videos where I've got a Digitech trio pedal, which kind of plays an automatic band. I can play the blues quite easily. It's really easy to play. So I'm no genius at it, but I don't take any pleasure in listening to it. I'm afraid. I don't know. I mean, even though I was talking about that Starfleet record, the one where it was Brian May and Eddie Van Halen, it was like Scott was. I know the record. I was up here. There's one pure amazing song, the pure cheesy 80s Starfleet, amazing. The other songs on it are kind of your bluesy type thing, and it's like I don't like it. I get abuse every week for the guitar that I made that kind of looks a bit like Stevie Ray Vaughan's, because in it I say I don't really like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it's just every week I get someone going, you don't like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I listen to it, and you're pure shite in the guitar. You're just like pure, it's an opinion. I don't like. I've never listened to. I don't think I've ever listened to the Jack by AC/DC because I don't like slow blues. I'm sorry, but so it kind of goes. It goes for it. Timber is one of my favorite bands. Though. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it's like when you get to blues, it's like I can kind of handle blues. It's fast. I don't like when there's like lots of people playing. It's got that piano through it. It just, it's like Led Zeppelin have one of those songs that I always skip. When I was 16 when I first got the Led Zeppelin albums, like You Shook Me. That was getting skipped every time, and Since I've Been Loving You gets skipped every time. I just don't like listening to it. And Deep Purple, Mistreated, AC/DC, The Jack, these things, the Stones, Midnight Rambler, these are ones that I just I don't know. I'm not that much of a fan. I do know that obviously I do play the blues and Howlin' Wolf. I bet you he's got some pure amazing songs, but I bet you he's got some slow ones that I don't like as well. I don't know. Anyone who likes blues but fancies a change, check out Aerosmith, Honkin' on Bobo. Honkin' on Bobo sounds good. I don't know Aerosmith. Which hour is it there, Marco? Seems like night. Well, I'm on the booze. I would go for right. So I started drinking this at 8 o'clock. So I would think 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It's maybe 9:30, 9:45. Oh, it's 10:15. It was a guess. You know, I was just going by the bucky. The bucky, but I've obviously been drinking a little bit slower than I normally do. And that's why I'm talking really fast and completely forgetting what I'm talking about and all these things. Oh. Hey, Jerry, you're still here? Yeah, totally. It's like the blues thing. I understand how it means that we can all turn up. Nobody's ever met before. We've never worked anything out. Nobody knows any of the songs, and we can have a blues jam. But the thing is, Jerry, I'd probably do quite well in a pentatonic kissing contest. You know what I mean? Because I can play quite. But it's one song, and especially see if I was pissed and just wanting to annoy everyone, I think I'd be quite good at it. But it doesn't do. The blues thing doesn't do. Because he's from Sweden, all right? Hey, Joachim. That's good. Joachim's quite a Swedish sounding name. Massive ABBA fan. I was talking to. You probably hate people doing this, but I was talking to my pal. Bought an ABBA record for his daughter the other day, and it's Arrival, and it's got. I've never played it for her. The city is a jungle, a wonderful dream. I never live it forever. As it done it in this, never to see before. Me, I'll be the tiger, which is amazing. ABBA, I'm a total ABBA fan. They're not crap at all. ABBA just SOS and all that. I was trying to get the Bandaman to play SOS actually, because that's proper metal. It's just that they've got a few ballads which kind of ruin it. Like sod the ballads. Let's have the greatest hits. It's just got the heavy songs, and ABBA can kick it totally. I'm too old to remember ABBA being the big thing on the radio. I do remember going back to when I was, let's say I was 13 or something like that. No, I must have been into music. So maybe 14, my wee brother won a raffle somewhere and won ABBA Gold on video. And this is about the same time that I got my first video recorder off my granny. It was an ancient thing. It had a remote control that was actually on a cable, and I had it connected up to the stereo. And I remember my pal G going like that, pure ABBA, maybe start a video, it might be quite good, and just being absolutely blown away by SOS and all that. It's brilliant. It's got. I dropped you. I hit your guitar off the roof, an absolute belter earlier on. Really, it's like pure. So it's no longer mint, which you'd be pleased about. So I've been relicking it gradually. Yeah, no, it is good, but my God, is it heavy? I couldn't believe when I looked up how heavy it was, and it turned out to be, out of all the guitars you could see on the wall, it was not quite as heavy as the Falcon, and half a kilogram heavier than that, but the next heavier. It's heavier than a fucking 8-string bass. I'm joking. That I hit your guitar off that light switch, which I hit every single guitar off. It'll be fine. That'll be fine. It's a good guitar though. I was asked about it. Nobody else will say how gorgeous ABBA women are and talented. I think I will say it. Even the dark-haired one has the ability. Frida, I don't know. She's absolutely stunning in Money and something else, but she had a case of bad haircut choice or bad makeup choice in quite a lot of the videos. The other one, kind of the blonde girl, looks kind of weird in some of it as well, but in some of them, the one where like pure, super mega gorgeous and amazing at singing. I can't. ABBA just. I've actually got the ABBA albums. That's how much a fan I was, because the greatest hits is kind of. I'm totally into half of maybe 2/3 of the greatest hits is belter. It's just that I'm not really that into slow ballady type songs. So like half of it is rocking ones, but if you actually listen to the actual albums, the albums are the same. They are sort of half super rocking and half ballady. So, and there's maybe 4 songs taken from each album. They're amazing. It's also not, they're deceptively difficult to play as well. You can play them badly. Yeah, totally. You're quite right, Stephen. It's going to be. See, the thing is, I could totally play it if I wasn't pissed. Oh, sure, it's D minor. I used to be able to play quite a convincing version of SOS and really enjoyed it. But I'm now drunk, so I can't remember. Do the ABBA checks about now. Like when they're both approaching 70. To be honest, I probably would as well. Just because it's like who they are. It's like you'd have to kind of remember. The Tiger. Is it the Tiger? I couldn't remember. I think it might just be Tiger. Da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. The city is a jungle, a powerful dream. Bang, bang. Amazing. I respect the views. I think you have to. Okay, I do respect the views. You don't have to listen to play it. And I do think, but the thing is, you're talking about the blues. It's like a lot of stuff I like is based on the blues. Like I think you could probably argue Black Sabbath are, and Cream. Although Cream have half a dozen songs that I pure love, and then they've got the bluesy ones that are just too bluesy, and the same with the Stones. The Stones kind of go too bluesy in there. And I can't think blues is easy. I think is the main point of it. I think basically everything, all the notes I play are all blues scales and blues stuff, and there's an element of it I'll enjoy. Check out the Larkin Poe, the Lovell systems. I've never heard of either of them. Are they both a similar sort of ABBA thing? I'd imagine, since we're talking about ABBA. Mine's seen the Chris Jericho, the wrestler, band Fozzy Beast out of Rock. Cover of SOS at the Garage. I'm sure it's on YouTube. But the thing is, you don't need to do a rock version of SOS. SOS, the actual version, you just turn the volume up and it is proper rock. It's not wimpy in any way. It's just that purely if I wasn't as drunk, I could play it. It's one of those ones that if I could get the start of it, I think I could. It is there. I can't remember it. It's really annoying. Yeah, that ABBA kick ass with his rock. There's a song called, I think there's an album called ABBA, which actually got up on my mum and dad's record collection. It's something called, is it Intermezzo Number 9 or something it's called? And it's the most amazing piece of mock classical music, but disco and classical music at the same time. And it's musically, it's just phenomenal. I don't think there's any singing in it at all. Amazing. I think I probably just start editing this stream soon. I'm getting a bit drunk and I've no idea what I'm talking about. I'll scroll up a little bit and see what's going on. Cheers for the super chat, Jez. That's awesome. And EE Australian dude. So I've got my bottle of Bucky for next week in the bag. Absolutely loving it. Let's see what's go back up if I can catch up with something that I've been missing out. I can't remember. It's the notes you don't play that will set you apart. Well, I suppose so, yeah. 70% ABBA there. Just grew up as Europe, Yngwie Malmsteen. All right, if you're in Sweden, then yeah, totally go for it. Well, Europe, Yngwie, I like Europe. I went to see Europe a few years ago, and it's like they're really good. They don't just have the Final Countdown. The other songs are. I know there's the Final Countdown and Carrie, which were big hits over here, but the rest of them are pretty rocking, and they're modern. The last couple of albums have been excellent. They're just a really good rock band. Actually, I've met them. They actually signed my denim jacket because I think they've got the original guitarist back, and they came out the front of the place called the ABC in Glasgow, and it was up here. They came out, it was up here. Anyone got a cigarette? I shouldn't be saying this all live, but I'm going to say it anyway. Anyone got a cigarette? It's up here. It's actually someone gave him a fag. There's up here. Oh, brilliant! It's like couldn't get any at the airport. Not a fag since we left Sweden or whatever it was they were. So it was like smoking it, and then someone taking a photo, and it was like you up here. No photos. And it was like, everyone was like, whoa, that's pretty harsh. Is that here? Not when I'm smoking a cigarette. I don't want to get caught. So he put it behind his back. He's like, take photo now. And it was like, everyone was up here. Ha ha ha, brilliant. They were lovely guys, all of them. Especially the bass player. I can't remember what his name was. And the guitarist. Lovely guys. And the gig was really good. I'll just get to the end. Sort of. Hey David, you're a bit late in. I was slagging you off earlier on. I don't think I was slagging you off. I was being nice. Bucketheads. My girlfriend's into Bucketheads. I watched someone linked a video to me, and it was just him on his own doing quite a small gig, and it's like there's not very many people without singing that can really entertain me with just a guitar. They can for a song or two. But for more than that, there's not enough there to keep going. The carousel in Brookman's Prospect Park's been interesting. Well, there you go. Amazing. It's like someone tell me how to play a major A chord and a minor. That's not the key that I was playing it in. I don't know. The thing with Mouse is I think the guy is hilarious. Whenever you see interviews with him, he's brilliant. He's funny. He's like totally super mega arrogant and a total dick. But I think that's a bit of that. There's an element of that that's a put on. He's not lying, but he's going, "Hey, I'm a guitarist. Of course, I'm going to say that. I can't tell you that ABBA's good." It's like I like the guy. I just when you ever watch any of his songs, I can handle what. See, the first song is amazing. The second song, that's pretty good. And then the third song, I'm kind of going, it's quite annoying now. Can we put something else on? Regardless, really, of whichever 3 songs it is you put on. So I can totally love Malmsteen for 2 songs. And then after that, I'm kind of a little bit fed up. Yngwie. You could say Yngwie, but Yngwie sounds funnier. I know it's Yngwie. I know it is. Or Yngwie. Sounds about right. A caravan tune. Oh, I can't remember. That was just a little bit of it in there. That's a song called For Richard, which is absolutely amazing. Which we actually used to play a song called 9 Feet Underground, which is the second side of In the Land of Grey and Pink, and we couldn't make it last the full 20 minutes. There was bits that were quite long with lots of singing and lots of instrumental stuff. We kind of chopped it up, and we got it to 20 minutes by sticking For Richard on the end. I can't even remember. I played the bass in the band, so that's why my excuse for not being able to play the guitar. Amazing. Oh. It's pretentious as Ingvi. Yeah, well, you don't need to spell pretentious right. It's a word that just fits in. I still call him Yingwi. I'm sorry. It became fun. It's like once you've done something for a certain amount of time, you just go. You just accept it. You never heard of Yingwi till Ingvi a couple of years ago? Not impressed. I don't know. Look, I do like he's doing like this sort of Paganini stuff. It's good. Play it clean. What's clean? Is that when you don't have distortion on? Can you do that? I don't know. I don't know. Can I even put it? Can I play you? This guitar is really doing. Wrong cue. In the land of grey and pink, where only boys got stopped to think, you'll be coming back again. Those nasty. I can't remember any of these songs. Used to play lots of these things. Used to play I played the bass in the band, so I've got an excuse for not being able to play any of these on the guitar. Caravan are actually playing in a couple of weeks' time in Oran Moor in Glasgow. Me and the guitarist from the Blind Doug, which was a Caravan tribute band I was in. Not really a tribute band. We kind of played heavy metal, really, really simplified versions of the songs. I'm going to go and see them. Great. And what's the other one? The reason we were called the Blind Doug, right, is because Caravan have an album called The Blind Dog at St Dunstan's, which is pretty good. And also, when the first time we saw them in the Renfrew Fair in Glasgow, they had a guitarist called Doug Boyle. We're actually going to be called the Boiled Doug, because Doug Boyle, and it's like, we're going, who's this guy who's 20 years younger than everyone else? And he was wearing a vest, and he had like a headless Steinberger guitar here. And we'd never seen the band before. Who's this guy? All right, and he was, see the lead guitar he was playing with is just phenomenal. He was just giving it pure all over the top of all the songs we know. He was amazing. Doug Boyle. He was a guitarist in Robert Plant's band for like Manic Nirvana and Now and Zen. We met him at the Canterbury Festival, but he's playing soon with Roger Daltrey on a tour, because I liked his Facebook page. So he's playing with Roger Daltrey, so I'm expecting some serious amazing, like one of the best guitarists I've ever heard. But the fact is that he joined Caravan, and it's like, what part are you going to play? And it's like my own part. And it was just, if you ever hear any of the Doug Boyle era of Caravan, it's like the lead guitar is just phenomenal. And it's like, sounds like it's got hundreds of effects, and basically he's got a Boss AC30 and a Vox AC30 and a Boss chorus pedal. I think that's it. And what he does with it is just unbelievable. It's like that. It's so much control and play. One of the best guitarists I've ever heard, and a lovely guy to go with it, man. He plays with what's the guy? Is it Nigel Kennedy, the crazy violinist with the spiky hair? He's been involved with him for years. I don't know why he got sacked from Caravan about 15 years ago. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Twitter either. I need to get a new phone. If anyone want to donate a phone to me, one that's like less than 12 years old that actually works. Mine is shit, or I'll buy it. I don't really know what I'm looking for. I just want one that can actually handle WhatsApp, because I feel the Black Sabbath band and the guys I play poker with use this WhatsApp thing, and my phone, it just slows down and takes. You have to keep rebooting it to try and access that. It's too advanced for it. So I need to get something. So I'll swap it for a guitar or something. If anyone's got a phone, just like an Android that's just not whatever mine is, which is just terrible. Yeah, sorry. I tried it for 1 week. It's bullshit for a Viking Swede. Unfortunately, my name here. What are your standard pedals? Pedal rack. I'm actually thinking of selling all my pedals I've got. If you look over here, I've got 2 shelves of pedals. There's a shelf here, right? So I've got delay, tremolo, chorus, phaser, a flanger, a Boss pedal, and a metal pedal that are all in a loop, and a Washburn stack in a box. I've got that all like in an effects loop on this pedal here. Right, and then on the other side, I've got a tuner, a compressor, which I never use, the Joyo US Dream, which I do use, that's my distortion sound, a rat pedal, which I rarely use, a twin note, which is my Black Sabbath sound, sort of, and then a couple of fuzz pedals, which this is my favourite now. So basically, all I need is clean, amp, distortion, and then the fuzz. So I'm thinking of just selling them all because I never use more than one at a time. I don't like pedals, but I ended up accumulating all of them. So ditch the pedals. I want to play gigs with one pickup, a volume control, an amp with nothing on it, and a fuzz pedal. I can't get into it. Oh, there you go. That's my most important and used ones are. I use the Joyo US Dream. And then I did use the twin note fuzz, which is kind of like a Black Sabbathy type pedal. And then I recently started going through hundreds of fuzz pedals, but basically the one I like best and the one I'm going to use in the band is that wee Delamo, which I think is a fuzz face, kind of like a Hendrix sound. I don't need anything else. I don't like reverb. And all the other pedals, I don't like listening to them, so I don't like playing through them. I just feel, I think maybe it's just because I'm super old fashioned. And all the music I really like doesn't really have that in it. So like chorus and that just doesn't really. And I'm not saying it's not right. I can appreciate it. Just totally fair if you pure love your pedals and if you can set them up. I don't like even faffing about with it. I've got enough problems trying to play in the right key on the guitar. So just the dynamics I can get from, the ability to sort of clean up. I turn a wee bit of a, and then that's really all I want. Yeah. It's not perfect. Oh, here we go. People are talking. Oh, there we go. Play it clean. I do like clean, but I like a little bit of drive. But when I've been playing, I took that wee PV, which is a 5-watt valve amp into the studio and was running it. I fitted an external speaker output, so it was running through a 4x12, and it was fine. That's really all I need. I'm a valve snob though. It doesn't the sound that I like doesn't really come out unless you can fidget with like modeling amps or solid state amps to get it in there, but I don't like fidgeting with things. It makes I'm not good enough in the guitar. Basically, is the problem I think. Yeah, so the Joyo US Dream, I was actually given it. It's a really nice. It doesn't really sound like a pedal. It sounds more like your amp's cranked up a bit, which is great. Yeah, as I said, I don't know if you were here. This is the one I'm going to use at the gig we're playing. It just the pickup is really microphonic, but as long as I'm not standing in front of the amp, we don't play too loud. It should be fine. I'm taking a spare guitar in case it is too microphonic, but I'm quite happy just playing with that. I don't need anything else. Playing clean sort of sentiment for the boys, no distortion to hide behind. Yes, yes, yeah. I'm talking from someone who, even though I owned the Soft-Tech for many years and very rarely turned it on. Instead, I played through a wee BB Blaster, which is basically the same amp as everyone's got, any 10-watt amp with the distortion on full, which kind of hides lots of mistakes. I played through that, even though I had the Soft-Tech sitting there. I don't know. Depends. Got a very different sound. I only use an overtime. Everyone else is rack stuff. I don't even use rack stuff. I don't know. Maybe just don't have the patience. I don't know if maybe I become really overwhelmed with having lots of things to fidget with. It's like, I've already got 6 strings. So having, and I do quite a lot of guitars that have got lots of sounds on them. So having it even more than that, it's like, oh no, it's like, it becomes too much. Playing in the right key. That's what I am too. Funk bass player, guitar player too for 40 years. Yeah, I never understood funk. I was actually played with if you're into funk, have you ever heard of Jesse Ray? Look him up. Bit of a funk legend in funk circles. If you're into funk, you maybe heard him. His band were like Bernie Worrell and Steve Jordan and all that were on his records, but he never really made it. And I ended up playing bass for him, and I could play it along with what we were doing. And it wasn't really till after that, like a couple of years after that, I really realized, all right, and I sort of understand funk now. It's a strange one. MXR Distortion Plus, not a sound to get on with. I had an MXR Zach Wild pedal, but I sold it. Plug in that EBO, and here it sounds muddy because it's an EBO. I'm about to give up. Once I finish my bucky, I'll stop playing. I'll try plugging EBO in. I think I'll need to put a strap on it. That strap's not coming off. Take the strap off. Scott's. Oh, this is a heavy beast of a beast. This EBO will be coming up for sale on Blitzkrieg Shop if anyone's interested. I've just basically got it in because it was really dirty, and apparently there was something wrong with it. Basically, someone had been messing about with it. It's like fidget, and I think it's had another bridge on it at some point, which messed it up. But, So this should work. Actually, I had an EBO that I painted like Jack. Who's Jack? Geezer Butler's bass. And the problem I had with it, although it was perfectly good, I put an extra pickup in it. But in the Black Sabbath band, I'm using 2 different tunings. So the other bass I was using was a lot better. Like most of it when they're Japanese, it's like, yeah, okay, it's fine, but there's quite a big difference when you see somebody playing. If I just played this, it'd be no problem, but I wasn't. I was playing this, and then I was playing top of the line Japanese stuff. There's quite a difference in sounds. But it's only kind of got muddy. Not staying in tune yet because I've been faffing about with it. But that's it with the treble full on. But there is an element of you've got to be ready for an EBO to play. I mean, this is actually really heavy. After playing this, I think this might actually weigh more than Scott's Ibanez, which is a lot. I I had the 8th ever one of these, which was the first one in Scotland, possibly the first one in Britain. I got it in 98. The serial number was like 98 000000008. And it was basically, I didn't know what I had. I wanted it because I loved my Epiphone SG, and I always SG shape was the one for me. It didn't really work for me when I got the Schecter P. Well, I didn't really know at the time. The Schecter P bass was much better. I'll be honest, but it was a P bass plus also Schecter are like better than anything. Like the original Schecter, not this Schecter Diamond series. The original Schecter USA are like better than anything Fender. They're the same as the 50s Fenders, basically. That's what they copied. So like Schecters were $2,000 in 1981, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Which is the equivalent of half a house back then. It was much better. But I mean, these are all right. I've had a few of them. The thing about these is, the one I had was an early Korean one from 98. The more modern ones are definitely better. This is an SJ. This would be 2007. So I think this is Chinese, or it doesn't actually say on it. So whatever Samick J. I don't know how it works. But these ones are better than the original Korean ones. But then again, if mine was number 8, maybe it's got really bad neck dive, actually. Just noticing playing it. I actually I've got like an original one, 1968 EBO, quite beat up. But all the bits are there. It's got some extra holes drilled in it and stuff. Good fun. Level 42. I don't know level 40. Well, I don't know much of their music, but I do like the guy. He's hilarious. Mark King. He did a thing at the very start of this lockdown thing. I think it was just him and his girlfriend, or him and his wife. And they're in their living room. He's obviously got like a wee studio type thing, and they're doing like a live stream, playing the songs along with some sort of backing track. And he's wearing like a glitter suit, and it's hilarious and brilliant. I'm sure it's still online. I really like that. Oh, we met soon. You shook hands with Ozzy. Well, I've not shook hands with Ozzy. I have not. Who have I shook hands with? I don't know. Not as big as Ozzy. Although I did get a bucket of water in the face from Ozzy from a foot away at the Barras when I was like 16 when he played the Barras. I fought my way to the front because I don't know. I think everyone was there to see the support band, which was Fear Factory. And then as soon as they started, I thought Ozzy Osbourne was dead. I didn't even know he was still alive. He's coming back. He's playing the Barras. Really? What? So I went there, and then what the support band were, well, for my ears, atrocious, and everyone was headbanging. And then they came on, and it was like, that's Geezer Butler playing the bass. And I was pure crying. And I think maybe the second or third song they played, Children of the Grave, dun, 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 dun. And I managed to get against the barrier just by going dun, 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 all the way down to the front, and I got a bucket of water in the face, like from that far away off Ozzy. Amazing gig. Second best gig I've ever been to in the Barras. Jack Bruce, yeah, totally. I've seen Jack Bruce live as well. It was quite difficult. Funk Bootsy and Eddie Hazel. Well, Bernie Worrell as well. He's a funk keyboard player, but you've heard him. Chris Squire. I've seen him. I saw Yes at Glastonbury, and they were playing in the Burger Court, and it was the original lineup. Like it had, it was definitely Wakeman, Squire, bass player Chris Squire, whatever his name is, John Anderson, and the guy who looks like the shriveled head from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. What's his name again? You know the guy who looks like an alien who plays the guitar. Sorry if you're watching. I quite enjoyed it. It was quite silly. I'm not a big Yes fan though. A huge Caravan fan, a huge Pink Floyd Echoes era fan, huge Camel fan, but Yes. I really love the first King Crimson album. That sometimes you can get too prog when I don't understand it. Yeah, it's like the EBO doesn't make any sense until you try and play, that's meant to be my attempt at playing the bit, and free, but it totally makes sense when you do that. But when you're trying to play other things, it's just alien. It's terrible. Mark King's a drummer, right? Steve Howe, Trevor Horn. No, Trevor Horn is don't be slagging off Rush. Rush are good. They kind of fit into the same category and be a little bit apart from I like. Hemispheres by Rush is awesome. It makes sense and I like it. More than any other Rush, although I do quite like, is it 2112? I used to put that on with my pals. I used to put it on for a laugh when we were all steaming in the Blackbeard. Yeah, because it's like dun 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 ding 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 dun 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 ba dum ba da ba ba dum 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 bum dum da da dum dum. Up here, you can just imagine people try to dance to it. Up here, hello, dun dun dun. Amazing fun. I voice a bit dislikes and likes. Music is a. As long as you don't try and tell me that Noel Gallagher is good, that's fine. As good in the guitar, it's fine, or as a good songwriter. Anything else goes. I mean, just because I don't understand it. I have a curiosity if your channel avatar does it have any history? Oh, you mean the picture? It's there you go. There's the hand-drawn picture with my Degu, which if you go back a while when I first moved into this house, my Degu used to have used to sit there, and he was an awesome little dude, but he died. I think he actually died. He choked to death on the curtain, to be honest. That's it. So there used to be a Degu in my room, and he was totally cool. Never had a name, just called him. He was just called Degu. I had my girlfriend do that, and obviously a very talented artist. She even made. I really shouldn't have tried. I basically was happy. I try and make me look thinner than I am, though. So I do look a bit thinner in that avatar. It's like UFO Cherry, great bassline. The UFO, I don't really know. UFO kind of missed me by. Obviously, I know like Dr. Doctor and that, but they've got an album. Is it Obsession? It's called. I used to listen to a bit, but one where they've all got the front cover. They've all got ball bearings in their face and in their eyeballs. I quite like that one. I don't know that one. Skilled yet tasteless milking. I think that's probably like a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment. That's fine. Oh. Robbie Krieger played with his fingers. Yeah, Robbie Krieger. I mean, the Doors. I love the albums, obviously. Especially the album "Wait for the Sun." But when you hear the only real live concert I've seen was is it the Hollywood Bowl or something, and they're very, very skilled. Really, like the drums and the way the drums invent, there's like the space and all that. It's a pure jam, and they're fantastic. Well, Rush are skilled, like tasteless, sort of. Yes, yeah. The thing about Rush is, though, is like, I think you either don't like Rush or you've got every album, you've got a Rush tattoo, and you know every lyric, including where every single song was recorded and what time it was and what month it came out. Very intense Rush fans. My pal Wayne is a Rush fan. Actually, the first time I met him in person, he lives down in Leicester, and there was a Rush convention or a Rush. Is convention the right word? A Rush get together in Bathgate of all places, which is kind of in the middle of Scotland, halfway between Glasgow and Edinburgh. And he came up for that. So that was the first time I actually met him, even though I talked to him a few times, and it was actually him that picked up that guitar for me. We were pals on internet, and I went and I was like, Rush, and he gave me an album called Hemispheres, which makes sense. I think, rather than going, here's Rush and giving you 6 hours of music, if you just take Hemispheres, which is like, I don't know, 40 minutes or something like that, so you get 2 sides, 20 minutes and 20 minutes, it makes sense. It's catchy enough, and it's a bit mad, but it's not that mad way where it's like, you know, it's not totally insane. It's catchable on. So if you try out that Hemispheres album, it's definitely worth a listen to. Doors. I don't think the bass was done on an organ footbed. I think it was done on a Fender Rhodes next to him. I think he's playing organ on the organ and then bass on a thing. I don't know how much foot pedals in, but I mean, amazing. I saw them live in Glasgow. I wasn't expecting much because I'd seen them at the SECC and they were called something. And then I saw them in the Armadillo, which is a much smaller venue, which is just next door to the SECC. And they were called the 21st Centuries. No, they were called Riders in the Storm. Something like that. Ian Astbury from the Cult playing was singing as Jim Morrison, and basically had the curly hair, the leather trousers. He looked exactly like Jim Morrison, and the stage was quite big, and because we were quite high up in the Armadillo, which is like it's like a sort of classical place, and it was really tiny. There was like a wee tiny guitar amp, like a wee Fender 2x12 or something, and then a drum kit that only had like 4 drums and 1 keyboard, and then a wee tiny bass amp looking down on a massive stage. So it kind of looked like a 60s or a 60s TV show. It was amazing. And they came on and they absolutely blew it. And Jim Morrison, well, Ian Astbury came out, goes up here, Glasgow, Buckfast! And by that point, he'd won us all over. And it was one of the best gigs I've ever been to. I remember it pure overran like fuck. Like it was meant to finish at, I don't know, 11 or something. They put the house lights on and Ian Astbury's like pure going, what are you doing, man? You can't turn the lights. We've not played the end or Light My Fire yet. You try to make us go. And it kept going. It was like there's a bit where Ray Manzarek's like giving it. So up here, yeah, come on down to the front. And then it was like, so everyone was like on the bottom deck. We were high up. On the bottom deck, turned into the front. There's like, you're not on the stage, man. And some guy, some drunk Scottish guy, ran over to Robbie Krieger. And Robbie Krieger basically just crushed into a ball on the floor because he thought he was going to get stabbed or something. You could see this guy who'd run to attack him. He was only going in for a cuddle, pure recoiling like that. Pure, no, I wasn't going to attack you. I was going to give you a hug. And it was hilarious. One of the best gigs I've ever been to, that one. Catch you later, Jesus. I'm going to give up anyway. We're about 3 hours. Catch you later, Jesus. Thanks for joining in, man. Brilliant. Porcupine Tree, I've seen them a few times. They're pretty cool. Do I write all the Crankhouse songs? No, I've written a couple of riffs, but it's amazing the fact that I don't have to write words because there's a singer, so I can come up with a riff, and the singer will go, I heard that riff that riff you did, like the first one I did, and it's up here. To me, it kind of sounded like a robot cyborg. It was like, right? Is that so? It's about like a robot cyborg fighting with emotions. It's like, what? Yes. I'd never thought of that, but if I was wanted it, that's exactly the subject I would have wanted. Amazing. I can't decipher Gedley's vocals. I don't know what Gent Fans is. Oh, it's the Glasgow Kiss you're thinking of. I don't know what a Glasgow hug is. A Glasgow Kiss is a headbutt. But this is Robbie Krieger, and you get a steaming guy. I mean, because Glasgow people generally talk like me, so when they're excited or in a good mood, they talk very fast. And I can see how, compared to, like, say, someone from Birmingham who's got a quite high-pitched voice, a Glasgow person, even if they're being nice to you, sound like there's a threat. So up here, all right, pal, how's it going? Sounds like I'm going to stab you. So, just with the depth of voice thing. Anyhow, that's me hitting 3 hours. I've got to finish. Hold on. Nope, there's more than one drink left. I've still got another 2 minutes. If anyone's on just now, you haven't spike a like, and that's awesome. I maybe think about actually working out something to talk about one of these videos, like proper questions rather than just getting pissed. It's become a bit too much of a piss up, to be honest. But I'm really enjoying it. Gent is Infant Annihilator and Black Tongue, Veil of May. I've never heard of any of that. I do know people have asked me, does it Gent with whatever guitar it was that I built? And I had to look it up to find out what Gent was. I don't really understand it. I'd imagine the only thing I've heard that's got Gent in it, Baby Metal, probably have a little bit of Gent in, like a riff or something, and then it'll have like an ABBA type chorus. Any Baby Metal, we're talking about a Glasgow Hugs as a bum. I don't know, man. Could be. Cheers, Daniel. David, what I'm up to much this week? I've got quite a lot of guitars to do. I've got a Telecaster and I suppose I've fixed this, and I've got one to build myself, and Low tunings, lots of harmonics and heavy riff. Yeah, probably. I mean, the thing is, I in the whole world of heavy riffs, I still never heard one as good as heavy as Symptom of the Universe. It's only 2 notes. Dun 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 dun. That's it. I've never gone that far. Come at me with that accent, gonna waste you. Yeah. Wait till you hear it live. YouTube's compressing it. Live, it makes your stomach go, ah. And I've got a pure posh. I get slagged off for having a really posh Glasgow accent. I'm kind of, since I started doing the YouTube, I kind of trying to talk clearly and slowly, whereas like a normal Glasgow person doesn't talk as clearly as slowly as me. They just go, hey, and then you get the nut. You know what I mean? Or my favourite, a Glasgow attack, better than a Glasgow kiss, is a punch kick heater. That's when you go in all in a oneer, you punch and you kick and you headbutt in a oneer. So it's just like a triple attack. And basically that's it. You've got one. The fight consists of one thing: punch, kick, heater, and they're done. And then that's it. You just go home or you run away after that. I always liked I married an axe murderer, the ancient the ancient Scottish martial art of fuck you, which is basically consists of one headbutt and then multiple kicks on the ground. Mike Myers knows what he's talking about. I know, but they're showing the luthier guitar fix and stuff. I need to have a look at it. I need to try and edit it. The problem is I'm not good at doing the editing thing, because see, if I've got the camera on, I just talk to the camera anyway, because all I'm doing is wiring a guitar, so I just end up talking. So it's dead hard to actually edit it down to the important bits, because the whole time I'm just talking crap to try and fill it out. The heat's like an orange on a cocktail stick. It's like he's a way to cry himself to sleep on his massive pillow. Aye. Cheers. Malcolm's got an LM, not OME, but cheers anyway. That's why I went for Malcolm. My YouTube and alter ego, like the Alice Cooper or the Ozzy Osbourne thing, is Mad Malcolm. Mad Malcolm is the one who can talk online and stand in front of a crowd and play the guitar. Malcolm's the person who's pure, who thinks about shit on it. No Mean City. Is that what No Mean? I know the Nazareth album. It's my favorite one. What do you mean? How do you record, edit, and do all the other shit? I'll tell you the secret. I don't do any of that. Really. I've got a camera on the wall. I've got a secondary monitor there. It's running off a PC, which is up there. That's the main monitor. I've got a mic there, and I just basically put on a guitar and hit record and wing it. The editing thing, I can't do. It's like, but the thing is, it's kind of work. I mean, I can understand why people don't like it. Oh, I'm paying to see a proper produced thing. No, I'm not getting any money for this. I mean, okay, cheers, thanks to the two of you tonight. I made some money tonight, but I mean, really, even though all the adverts you're watching, which you should probably just ditch, it's like I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the sanity. It gives me something, especially during the lockdown when I started doing one night a week, a video every night. It's someone to talk to, and I really, really enjoy it. It's great. I mean, you guys are awesome, and really, see, if it was just normal people, I'm not saying that any. Well, you're not normal people. You're on here, so you're obviously it's amazing, you guys. I mean, all of you, like Jeff and Slap and Stuff, and the one who knocks and X-Paps, are just like keeping it going. It's fantastic, and even though I've never met any of you, it's amazing. I love you all so much. It's fantastic. Absolutely love it. I have been on for 3 hours, and I've got just the toenails left. This bass is doing my head in with its neck heaviness. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that, see, my original one, I'm sure it had the strap button was either in here or in here. And on this one, it's there. And see the difference about putting the strap button there? It makes it hang. I did a video the other night when it was a Van Halen bucky caster, which is in Blitzkrieg shop now. And I put like a hook thing in it, partly because it was a Van Halen thing, and also because I couldn't find a strap button. I've ordered some from China. And it's like, it was a hook that kind of came out like that, like a question mark, right? And see, when it was sitting in the arch bit, it balanced perfectly. But see, when you put it up to the other one, so you're talking about moving at 10 mil, it became neck heavy. And it's amazing how little it takes moving the strap button to get a guitar. And although sometimes like this, you're very aware it's neck heavy, the clipper, I put Grovers on it because I got a set of Grovers for very cheap, and it ruined it. It's not neck heavy, it's just slightly off. When it balances perfectly, you're completely unaware of balance, and it's just like, this is amazing. I love it. The Shockingbird kind of has that. It's like you're just completely unaware. It's amazing. Oh. Oh, we're getting lots of comments here. I'll just read through these. Oh, cheers from Sweden. No, Sweden, awesome. I'd love to come and see you in Sweden. Sounds great. I'm a terrible bass player. You've been playing guitar since 4 years old. You must be good. It must be almost an effort not to be good after playing since you were 4. Assuming you're more than 14. Yeah. I like spans slowly. Just like small contractions. I'm enjoying it. I would much rather play to 15 folk or whatever, 20 folk, and it's like a good 100 people seem to watch quite a lot of the videos. I would much rather do that, doing what I'm doing, than do something I hated that was getting, what a lot of the guitar tube channels get when they're talking about things that don't really interest me. It's like, oh, it's like you've got to try and sell this guitar, or you've got to say it's good because it's been given to you. I'm shit at lying. That's the thing. If you ever see me lying, I'm really bad at it. So I just basically gave up about 20 years ago. So I just kind of tell the truth, because when it comes to the lying thing, I just go bright red and stutter. Like, even if it's just lying, it's like, pure, did you go to the shop yesterday? Pure, no. You can tell I'm lying. So I can't lie. We're not normal. We're all guitar nuts. Quite right. Guitar nuts, but not guitar snobs. But then I think I put it in as all of us. We all like all guitars. See, even the guitars I don't like, it's still a guitar, so it's still cool. I don't like Les Pauls. You want to shot my Les Paul? Aye. So I don't know. It's like, would you rather have no guitar or a Les Paul? The only guitars I don't like are the ones that are really expensive and not worth it. It's like, do you want a shot at this guitar? I totally. Do you like this? Oh, it's really pretty good. It costs £6,000. Does it? For £6,000, it should be significantly better than any guitar I've ever played before, and it isn't. Therefore, I don't like it. What happened to me when I went in to try, I decided I was going to pay up a Gibson Les Paul, £2,500. For £2,500, this should be the best guitar I've ever played. It should be sick. It should be for £2,500. It should be 2.5. It should be nearly 10 times better than any guitar I own, and it's not even better than some of the guitars I own. Like, not 10 times better. It's not better. I can't do that, so that's why I don't like it. Put the strap button on the neck of the Thunderbird. Yes, they can make a difference. I don't know if I don't really remember the Thunderbird being bad for balance. I just remember it being a door frame hitter or a hit the other members of the band hitter, because it's like, this is only a 30-inch scale, but it's got a big headstock. So it's like you're talking about that long on the head and then this long on the back, plus it sits there. So you've got this thing that's like, if you try and even through a double door, it's going to hit on both sides. If you're in here, you're cool. I thought you said if you're cool, you're not in here. I quite like the Thunderbird, but the problem is it's like other people. To me it was a very obvious choice of the bases. I said I was going to stop. I'm going to stop. I've now gone 20 minutes past. I said I was going to stop. I have finished. There's like only the crunchy bit, which is never pleasant at the bottom of a bottle of Bucky to go. Oh, the last mouthful is just. Oh, it's bad. Oh, Thunderbirds have big wings though. First base was an Aria SB1000. Get a hold of an Aria SB1. I want one of them, but that is the one Aria that's worth money. That they're more than £1,000. Even I think if the 1,000's got the active preamp in it, then there's an 800 that doesn't. I've got a PB 1500, which technically is more expensive than the SB 1000, and from the same time, but nobody wants it because it's not the one that that's not the one that everyone knows about. It's got the neck's parallel, so whatever the nut is, 42mm. It's 42mm at the 20th fret, so it basically should feel the same all the way up. And it's oh. Missing you. I don't know how you play it. It can't weigh more than that though. Thanks very much, everyone. I've been trying to end this for ages. This bass is the balance thing is pure killing me. It's like I can't do this, but I'm carrying that. Love you all. You've all been amazing tonight. Thanks so much for helping me out doing this. Like, see if you weren't chatting in there, these things would be 20 minutes long because I would just run out of things to say and there's no vibe going on. Thanks very much. I love you all and good night. I shall see you during the week. This week I've got a couple of videos with Scott. One of them we're talking about the Ibanez Blazers, and it's like an hour long. So I might just put it out. There's a night I might put it out Tuesday. Tuesday seems to be my big night. I've got an acoustic. I've got a Telecaster. I've just done it. I've got more videos than I can put out. I don't want to put out more than one a day, so I'm just going to let them backlog. Perhaps you don't want me get like you don't see me try to play the 8-string bass doing the Nazareth thing. I don't get. I like quality of sound, so I need the HQ audio that I get from a normal video, not from a live stream. It's not because I'm completely pissed and the chances of me playing it right are 0. X-Paps. Catch you later. See you later, Daniel. And Jacob. Amazing. Night. I love you all. And honestly, thanks so much. And thanks so much, Jez and EE from Australia, as far away as you can be and still on the planet, for the super chats. I love you all. Rock on!